Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Dial H For Heroclix. I'm your host, Hunter Obi-Wan Smith. With me today is Drew, Lando, Alderson, and Austin Jar Jar Smith. You guessed it.
Oh, come on, man.
Come on.
That's not even right.
I was going to complain about being Lando, but then Austin got to be Jar Jar.
What?
So.
Lando's the shit, man.
Until he betrays everybody.
But
Who cares?
Yeah.
He's still the shit.
Spoiler alert, by the way, I guess. In case you're like,
How's your week, guys?
That's good.
it was horrible.
Austin's
Every
bummed
event
out.
I've played in this week has been terrible.
Austin's bummed out because he got the crap kicked out of him today.
We'll
Not
get
just
to that.
today, it's been all week.
Notice I used the word crap and I did not curse. Why is that?
It's because today's a very special edition of Dial H For Heroclix, which where Hunter here is going to get plastered, and he's going to take a shot every time we swear.
So I have here some Jim Beam because I'm a man and I only drink whiskey or bourbon. I do not drink beer, and I don't really like anything else. And I've had a migraine and a half like all day long, and so they were like, "Well, you can take some aspirin before we do the podcast." I was like, "A real man's medicine."
A real drunk man's medicine.
It was a shot of Makers or a shot of Jack. I have some Red Stag Jim Beam here. It is 80 proof, so not super strong for what I usually drink. I mean, that is strong, but not strong as what I usually drink.
If you were Ricky, you'd be already probably drunk by smelling it.
And the drinking game is going.
We gotta have Ricky on here for the next time we do a drunk podcast.
No, that will not. It'll last 20 minutes, and we'll have to shut the shit down. Damn, there's. All right, hold
Let's
on.
start it.
One shot.
Cherry Coke chaser.
So every time one of us cusses, I have to take a shot.
Now, I thought about going off on a tirade here, but
That's terrible.
when we get to some of our spoilers later, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of
If you
cussing.
guys start to abuse it, then I'll have to step in.
Or else you'll end up in the hospital.
So, first let's get into some what we played. Mainly because the traumatic experience is fresh on Austin's mind.
You have no idea.
Well, I tell you what, let's start with Wednesday. Austin, you played at Game Preserve, did you not?
I did.
How did that go? I wasn't there.
I went 1-2. I showed up with a really good team Wednesday. It was half, you bring up to 400 points of your own team, and then you open an FI booster, and you construct a team using at least 100 from your booster, and the rest from your collection. So I was like, I'm going to go with a bunch of my staples. I brought like my Iron Fist and all that stuff. I had a really good team. I had a really good setup. I brought everything just in case. Opened my booster, saw that Heimdall. He's like 150 something. I was like, there's my booster right there. Finished out with Tyr, Iron Fist. It was like 500 point build or something like that. Tyr, Iron Fist, Split Lip, of course, because we were allowed to use other stuff from the set. And I ran 5 hammers on books. We couldn't run 6.
Well, that's where you messed up right there, because you should have just brought 6 white suit Iron Fists.
I know. I thought about
And then pulled a 7th and an 8th.
I really thought about it.
That's what I would have ran.
So my team right off the bat's pretty melee heavy. It was a good team in most Fear Itself sealed situations, but when everyone's allowed to break out their Hawkeye they have stored somewhere, and they knew they were going up against a bunch of Fear Itself melee teams, that is all I played against all night was Hawkeyes.
Chaos War Hawkeye?
No,
A
the
Fear Itself?
Fear Itself Hawkeye.
Did the stuff that you bring with you have to be Fear Itself stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry if that wasn't designated. It has to be Fear Itself.
You may have said it. I may have missed it.
You may be drunk already.
I'm not drunk. I will. It's near impossible.
So-
Nigh impossible.
So it was stuff from the Fear Itself set. So like I brought Split Lip, of course, that was a given.
Yeah.
And crap like that. My first game was really good. He wasn't running the book or anything, so I had a big edge on him, especially with Split Lip. Second and third games were better. My rolls turned against me pretty quickly, though, and that mixed with that stupid Hawkeye. And by the third game, I was just so tired I didn't even care. But it was a fun event. It was definitely interesting to get to play constructed Fear Itself restricted like that.
Yeah.
As opposed to sealed. And there were some interesting teams built. There were some combos and stuff that I ran into. There were a few really good mighty teams that I wasn't expecting. A lot of stuff like that. It was a fun event.
I played Thursday at Comic Book University, also Fear Itself. It was 1 booster Wolverine, 1 booster Fear Itself, 400 points with book. I ran... I pulled the super rare Jubilee that I needed really bad. So I was happy. I was just pulling that. I was like, I don't even care how I do from now on. I'm
Prime
just
or
happy I got...
non-prime?
Huh?
Prime or non-prime?
Non-prime.
I guess for you, a normal SR would be an amazing thing.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just
I
messing.
need her. I need her because I have the prime one. And actually, she's worth more than the prime. Because she goes on the team base. But anyways, I decided to play her because I didn't... I like to play new pieces, especially at Fear Itself, where I don't really care about how good I do. I played her, Tyr, Shatterstar, and the rare Black Suit Iron Fist. And I was giving up like 30 points, but I just didn't pull a good enough differential point values to where I could fill out a team very well. So Jubilee starts with the energy explosion, and if she hits, the opposing characters have to choose whether they're going to take -1 attack or -2 attack or take an extra action token once they're hit.
That's ridiculous.
And she has 2 bolts, and she wasn't very good by the end of the
I bet
day.
she'd go better paired with someone like Bruce Banner or someone that buffs energy explosion.
Yeah,
And
well,
some
she only has
enhancements.
like 4 or 5 range for
Oh, really?
one, and she does not have any running shot. But I gave it to her with hammers, and what I ended up doing was Shatterstar would teleport in, she would get off an energy explosion, and then Shatterstar would charge Flurry, in after that. Of course, Tyr do what he always does, and that Iron Fist is good too. First round, my opponent didn't have book, and like you said, it's just a complete annihilation. Second round was against John, and I made a bad play after getting frustrated with several bad rolls, and I just got my crap kicked in. I set up and had a chance to charge exploit Lady Deathstrike for like 6. Like basically could have one-shot her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I crit hit, and then he probbed me and I crit missed.
Ouch.
And he proceeded to kill Tyr in one turn. And then
Yeah,
a
that's
couple
what-
turns later, I sent Iron Fist in. He crit missed.
Yeah, my third
God damn.
my third game and second games on Wednesday, I had some bad misses with Tyr. And Tyr is such a deep dial, like, if he gets blasted hard in one turn, like, if they super focus fire him and drop him, it really sucks for teams that are built with him.
Well, he has 8 clicks, though.
Yeah.
And he has, like, toughness
Invul
or
most of
invul,
it.
like, every click.
He's only got toughness like his last 2, I think.
His very last click, he has nothing at all, but he has an 18 defense and a 12 attack.
Yeah.
So he goes out swinging. I love Tyr so much, and I played him today, too. God, it's such a great piece. I just appreciate it more every time I play him.
Wednesday, there were people cracking jokes about how much you love Tyr, by the way.
He's so good. I mean, I've played him so many times now, and
If Hunter was here, he'd be playing Tyr. Really?
he always pays off.
I should have played like 4 Hawkeyes.
My third round was against Ricky, and we had a very extremely close match. He pretty much had me beat, but I managed to get it. He had Spiral, and he gave her a running shot, Pulse Wave, and I managed to get off a energy explosion at a couple energy explosions at very good times with Jubilee because he didn't have a lot of willpower. So he kept taking the -2 attack instead of taking the token and the push, and he kept missing his rolls by like 1 or 2. So that power did come off handy in our last game. And also, I did a few sidestep tricks that really paid off in the long run too, with blocking lines of fire and stuff. And Shatterstar Flurry Blades at the very end and rolled 5s on both his blades and won me the game.
I had that happen today with a Flurry Blades hit me 6-6. I was like,
So I went 2-1 with a lot of points, and I got second, and I got a Cold Borson, so that was nice.
Cold Borson.
Today we played at the Dugout. If you guys didn't listen in last week, it's our best build week. The build is 400 points. It's modern age. Resources and relics and ATAs are allowed. And it's everyone on your family needs to be related to another
everyone on your
person.
family.
Sorry, everyone on your team needs to be a family member or a spouse of everyone else on your team. We had a lot of cool teams, and this was our week for best build. Like I said, I played a team that was Tyr, the Tab App Thor, who was very good. I was very happy with him at the end of the day.
The Halloween costume kid Thor.
Yeah. 30-point Loki with utility belt.
Gosh, that Loki is so good.
And the starter set Sif at 75 points. It was pretty good, too. Drew, what did you play?
I played all pieces from Incredible Hulk. The Fast Forces Hulk with belt.
No, it's the Gravity Feed.
Gravity Feed.
Yeah, 201.
201. Kyra and Scar.
Main set Scar.
Yeah.
And that was a good team. We played each other. We'll talk about that in a minute. Austin, what was your team?
I went with the Inhumans team that had Skrull, Black Bolt, Medusa, Crystal, and Ronan the Accuser at 75 with Gamma Bomb. You know, Hunter's favorite.
He loved a Gamma Bomb.
See, I figured mentioning the Gamma Bomb would get Hunter swearing.
Nope. Good try. Let's talk about how the games went before we announce the winner. It was pretty dang close. It was as close as you can come.
I don't know. Me and Drew had a roll off.
Well, that's true. You guys came. That was the very first time we did it, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. My first round was against a Fear Itself Odin, the new Thor from the Target exclusive Thor, and the Serpent. And one thing to note about that Target Thor, he promotes into the 001 Dark World Thor, and his promotion is by far the easiest promotion that there is to hit in the entire game of HeroClix. Basically, the way his works is you hit one time, or any time that he hits, you roll a d6. If your d6 roll equals more than the damage that you end up dealing out from that attack, you get to promote. And what happened and if you think about it, you're going to get that, the majority.
Like a 50% chance.
Yeah, that's like always 50 plus. On ours, it was a 100 plus because he hit my Thor that had Impervious, and I made my Impervious roll. And since he technically hit me, but didn't deal any damage, he could have rolled a 1 and still promoted. Yeah. Another cool thing about that Target Thor, because we never reviewed the Target exclusives, because at the time they weren't out.
Yeah.
That Target Thor has a really cool way that they could do cheap willpower. I don't know if you guys have paid much attention to the dial.
He's the one that has the special tokens, isn't he?
Well, for one, he has the basically the Blue Beetle version of ignoring damage. That's that's after he promotes. Actually, now that I think about it, it's a trait that basically lets him ignore pushing damage, but only a couple times.
Yeah, he gets 2 tokens or something like that at the beginning of the game, and at the beginning of his turn, he can take one off to ignore pushing damage for that turn.
Yeah, so basically it's a limited amount of willpower.
So he gets willpower twice.
Yeah, and if you think about it, think about the average game, how fast they go, especially these days, clicks. You only need to push it.
That's 4 or 5 turns right
there.
Yeah,
you only need to push a couple times per game anyways.
Yeah.
You know, your figure's going to die before then as fast as the game goes these days. So that's a good way.
And it's unoutwittable.
It saves
the indomitable
that's true too. It saves you a couple points on the figure's build whenever they make the figure. But anyways, I thought that was a cool promotion mechanic on that door. I hit a couple early impervious rolls.
You hit a couple improv
improv rolls. I hit a couple impervious rolls, and then it was pretty easy pickings from there. That Sif picks up Precision Strike. God, I love Precision Strike so much. I really learned to appreciate it even more today. She was cutting through Odin's Impervious. She has Flurry Precision Strike. Cutting through Impervious, for 1 at a time. Serpent has Super Senses for a long time. She goes right through his Super Senses. I loved that Sif a lot. She's not super effective for her points, the starter set version, but I really liked her dial. She ignores characters, so I would send her in as a tie-up and let Thor do his thing on the outside. If you guys aren't familiar with the Tab App Thor, he basically has a supercharged version of Running Shot. He moves half his value, and during that movement, you can make a ranged combat action, and then finish your movement.
So it's like mini hypersonic speed with
it's a good mix of Running Shot and hypersonic. You can, if you have that in Psychic Blast, you can basically do a short hypersonic and Psychic Blast during it. So I can pop out from behind something, Psychic Blast, and then pop back behind. He doesn't start
sort of coward.
He doesn't start with Psychic Blast, but he does pick it up a little bit further down the dial. And he paid off really well. Of course, Tyr did really
A
well.
lot of those tab app figures are pretty pushed, actually. Like, there's some good ones.
They're not bad at all.
We were talking about the Man of Steel one today, because supposedly the Superman's ridiculous.
I like the Zod the best.
That Zod is good.
I'm looking for him actually right now. And there was a team at Gen Con that did decently well with that Zod now that I think about it. Let me see if he's on the HC Realm units. But I'm looking for that Zod right now if anybody knows of anybody who has one. The Zod Tab App Elite. He's only 80 points. And this is why I want him. He can use Mastermind, but only to deal damage to friendly figures with Kryptonian keyword. You can run the cheap scientist guys with barrier.
Yep.
And then barrier him in. Whenever he needs to clear, you just barrier him in. Friendly characters with Kryptonian keyword and a lower point value within 6 can use Superman enemy. So you give all those little cheap scientists outwit too. Yeah, I'm looking for him big time. But the Tab App figures are good. The X-Men set they're all excellent. I've talked before about how good the Trinity set is.
Yep, and they all look like kids in Halloween costumes.
The Thor and the Cap are very good. The Iron Man, he's not bad, but he's not good either.
I agree.
Well, second round, Drew and I had a goddamn knockdown drag out. Basically, I managed to cut down Kyra pretty quick because I didn't want to deal with her trait, given that bonus
how you're
defense.
Struggling with swearing.
I'm
it's
trying.
So damn funny.
Did you just say damn?
You just said damn.
That was forced. I'm going to give you this one, but you forced that damn out. You ain't fooling anybody.
I ain't fooling nobody until you're drunk.
Anyways, where was I? Drew and I managed to cut down Kyra pretty quick, and it basically turned out to be Thor versus a Scar that was almost dead, but on a goddamn good click.
It's a really good click.
And also a Hulk that was about halfway through his dial, which it on most Hulk pieces is the best place to be on a Hulk dial. And he had Thor pinned down, and I made a breakaway roll, and we ran away. We danced around each other forever.
It was pretty crazy.
We got to the end. I almost had Hulk killed, and I had Scar down to his last click, and I still had a pretty healthy looking Thor. And then Drew hit a couple of well-timed regen rolls, almost. You went back to second click.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, this is over. Drew beat me. So it looked like Drew was going to take the best build. In my third round, I played a Batman team, which was pretty much tailor-built to beat my team, but I ended up barely squeaking out a win. Due to some... I played it pretty decently, and he missed a couple key rolls, too, that would have helped him a lot.
I think Drew's conflict of interest today was the best. He almost had to play the guy who submitted his build.
Yeah. So the person that submitted Drew's build is Harry, a friend of the podcast and a local player. And there was one point where it almost looked like you guys were going to have to play each other. And Harry was almost thinking of just not
just throwing
the match. But you guys didn't end up having to play each other.
Harry came over while you guys were playing and was like, I can't watch them play this. He goes, I can't. He's like, I want to tell him what to do, but I can't.
Drew's team was the team that Harry built's good.
It was a very
Talk about it, Drew, because it was pretty dang good.
It was pretty good. It was basically, you wanted a map with a lot of, blocking and hindering. Because you put the belt on Hulk and you got the Bat-Cowl there. So in my third game against Scott, that was basically my one key advantage. I'd park Hulk in hindering, because the map we were playing on was the Bioshock Infinite map, the one with a ton of hindering. There's a little wall of blocking in the back that I had Scar and Kyra and Hulk over there. He was playing that Batman that uses, detonates objects pretty much.
Harry played that one too.
Wayne.
Yeah, the Marquee Streets.
Streets of Gotham Marquee. He's playing the Batman from Streets of Gotham, not the normal set one, not the Chase, but
the Leadership Perplex. Yeah.
He was playing Huntress.
I think it's SOG 13, the Batman.
Streets of Gotham Huntress, and the Batman, Flashpoint Batman from Superman.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because that's actually his dad. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and he had the belt on the Batman. So basically, it came down to I missed a flurry roll and if I would have hit that flurry roll, I probably would have killed the Batman. And Scott played it really well. He had outwits. So basically what I did was I parked Kyra and Scar behind this little blocking wall, and then I put Hulk in front so he couldn't outwit me without going, all the way around. So basically he came to me, and then we just knocked the shit out of each other.
The traits for that team come in dang handy. You got the Kyra trait, which gives you, an 18 defense if you're you pick a character at the beginning. What?
Drew dropped a shit.
Oh, go ahead. Drew, you talk about the trait while I'll take my third
shot. Drew dropped a shit. Anyway, the trait is you can give someone 18 defense, but they have to be adjacent to you to actually, have the 18 defense. So I'd give it to Scar, and he'd park near a wall, and I'd have him come to me.
Because the Scar's trait, when he's adjacent to blocking, gets impervious.
Which is pretty strong.
And then, wasn't there... Oh, and then you have the...
trait from Scar, which gives +1s to Hulk or Kyra.
To Hulk and Kyra's attack roll. So you got, synergy left and right with those three.
Harry built a really good team, and I had a lot of fun with it. I just, wish I could have done a little better for Harry.
You did, man. I barely had more points than you.
Yeah.
We both went 2-1, but I think I had maybe 40, 50 more points. And you beat me in our game.
Yeah.
Austin, how'd you do?
Horribly. The team I picked, of course I went over, was the Inhumans one. First match was against Drew. I won map roll, and I was like, hey, Scott, toss me whatever map's over there. And he tosses me that checkerboard map with the big chunks of blocking everywhere. And my first response is no, and flip that thing over. And we played on the Thanos Shrine side, and I started down at the bottom of the steps. Drew started up above. Moved up. Drew had positioned himself, and I was like, man, I got a good chance to pulse wave here. I'll fly over with Black Bolt over the blocking, and my pulse wave won't hit my own guys, it'll only hit his. No. Because apparently even with, everything involved, team probs whenever I could and all that stuff.
He used 3 team probs.
How many times I pulse waved that game, I missed every single one for, 6s. And that Black Bolt, he is not worth his points.
The Scroll Black Bolt.
Yeah, the Scroll Black Bolt's just way overcosted.
I played him, when we first started playing Clicks, and we were playing in my garage every week, I played him back then, and I was like, this piece is garbage.
Okay on Scroll teams, if you have a good team with him.
I still don't think he's worth his points.
He starts with a 4 and running shot pulse wave, which is nice.
He's overcosted.
And he drops to 9 attack and then 8 so quickly.
For a 142, I think.
He's 130, I think, or something like that. But Crystal, of course, is one of my favorite pieces. I tried to get some good play out of her today, but she kept getting shut down. I did some good penetrating damage to some of Drew's figures though, and then Ronan just died every single game.
Ronan's great, but the thing about him is he's such a glass jaw.
Yeah.
Because they barely give him any clicks, and we were talking about this week. Ricky and Austin were theorizing what the next event could be after
Guardians
World
of
of
the
Light.
Galaxy being the upcoming set.
And they were teasing me saying Realm of Kings because they know I'd be excited about that. And I was talking about I really want them to redo Ronan because the Hammer of Thor one's pretty good and the Fast Forces one is good, but they really haven't captured him perfectly. They have a really good Black Bolt. They have a really good Annihilus. They have all my favorite cosmic guys dials down, but they haven't nailed Ronan down quite.
They need
correctly.
to do one of those big, world-damning powerful Ronans that just comes down to a world and just, slams down his hammer and is ready to smack.
I would say good. Give him some decent range. The Fast Forces one is too range-based to be Ronan.
I don't like how he doesn't know what he is. He's a mix of melee and range.
Well, that's kind of how he fights, but he needs a lot of CCE, in my opinion. The Hammer of Thor one is a little bit more accurate, but he has too much dang in-cap. Why give Ronan that much freaking in-cap? I do like the fact that he buffs Kreese. They definitely should keep that in. But Ronan if I could build one, I would have Charge Exploit, or maybe not even exploit. Maybe just a high damage.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him get a...
Maybe like a high damage, somewhat low attack, like a 10 on an expensive figure.
I wanna
But give
see
him
him with
lots
a-
of close combat expert.
He's one of those characters I'd like to see with a multi-target melee, so he could hit 2 people with like one big white swing.
That's pretty...
It would be pretty fitting for him. But every time I've played him, like, I've never played Ronan and been like, man, I'm glad I put him on my team. And I hate that feeling because I love Ronan, but he just, every time I've played with my Inhumans, he's come up short. Crystal, of course, as I said, was good. Medusa, I'm torn on Medusa. I feel like in her role as a +1 attack to Black Bolt and everything, she's good. And as a leadership, sometimes she's useful. My problem with her is she doesn't have enough move and attack to make good use of her abilities. So, at best, she's a good tie-up with the free end cap and the plasticity.
And the leadership.
Yeah, the leadership's okay. She's like 83 points.
If you play her with...
if you play with like Karnak and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, if you play her with the good Inhuman team with the good Black Bolt, she's well worth it.
I used her to pop tokens off Ronan constantly.
Otherwise, she's not all that exceptional. You're right.
Gamma Bomb performed exceptionally.
Big surprise there.
Against Drew, it killed Hulk off, which was a little ironic. And then we had my later 2 games. It was used to maximum effect. My second game, I cleared house. Like, I got so lucky on my rolls. I mean, like, I flurry blades 6s with Medusa on somebody. I freaking pulse wave crit. I did all kinds of crazy stuff constantly. And then my third game, I just got smashed. It just... I have bad rolls, and then Deathstroke and all them don't play games, ever. They came up there and just shot.
Played against Deathstroke, Ravager, and Ravager team.
Yep.
What teams did we see for the family? I saw... Well, I already mentioned the 2 Asgardian teams that I saw.
A couple Batman.
There were a couple Batman teams. What was Paul playing? Thanos
and Terraxia.
Which actually, now that I think about it, isn't legal because they weren't married. But no big deal. Trying to think what other teams I saw people running. What was Jim playing?
Jim was playing almost the exact team you described that Zach was playing with, except he had the Chaos War Loki on there instead of. He had Chaos War Loki, Serpent, and I think the Gravity Feed Thor 001.
Yeah, that Gravity Feed Thor is legit. Let me see.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was the Target Thor. He had
Or the Target Thor. Let me see the best build. Who submitted the team? So, Drew and I both went 2-1, but I had slightly more points. So the person who submitted my team.
I apologize to whoever's team I picked.
You played Surfer's team because remember I was messing with him. Actually, I was really messing with you on the thread.
On the pick and the
yeah, I was really messing with you, but hopefully he didn't think I was being messing with him. I'm gonna find who submitted this team. And they will get 6 custom action tokens with whatever comics logos they would like to put on them. It's on our Instagram. And that's not it. And I'll contact you and we'll get you your tokens. And while I'm looking this up, we're going to get into some news because there was quite a bit of news this week.
There's going to be some serious swearing.
And I feel like we say that every week as far as there was quite a bit of news because, man, it's nice that we get so many spoilers.
Yeah, we have stuff to talk about.
We're still in business. There's a lot of upcoming sets, too. You got all the CTDs that are coming out, and then you have Invincible Iron Man, and plus all the AVX news that's coming out.
They hinted a bunch of stuff for Deadpool, too. That's pretty sweet.
The first thing that I want to talk about is Mage Knight. Oh, let me announce the winner here while I got it pulled up. So the person that submitted my team, which was
King's Disciple.
Yeah, King's Disciple. That's right. Who is doing the dice sale with the breast cancer? King's Disciple submitted my team. Thank you for participating, and I'll contact you, and we'll get you your custom poker chips. The other finalists were A Pierce Theory and People Surfer, who also is on our dial design contest. Actually, all 3 of these guys are on our. Does Harry submit dials?
I don't know.
I don't think Harry's done dials. Or he did Deadpool.
Core.
Yeah, So all three of these guys also submit to our dial design contest, which we'll be talking about a little later. Anyways, we got the first thing I want to talk about are the Mage Knight clicks, and we saw yet another really cool team ability.
Yep.
It is the Phoenix Concord team ability, and it's basically a slightly worse version of the Society ATA. Once per turn, but it's slightly better in another aspect. Once per turn, when a power or ability of a character using this TA or an adjacent friendly character would be countered, roll a d6. On a result of 5 to 6, the power or ability is not countered. Now, the reason that's worse than the Society is because the Society is a 50-50 and this is a 33%.
Well, not just that. Society's unlimited, isn't it? Or is it only once per turn? Because I think Society is
unlimited. But the other reason that this is good is because it says or an adjacent friendly character, and it doesn't specify that they have to share a keyword or a team ability or anything. So you could give it to any good piece that you don't want to be outwitted, have a slightly harder chance to be outwitted. They showed that on this 50-point Altum Sentinel. He has a trait. When a character fails to break away from him, deal that character 1 damage. Ooh. He also has Plasticity at full dial.
Ooh.
He has Toughness, and then late dial he picks up Willpower and Exploit. And I was saying, paying 50 points to tie up your opponent's 200-point brick for 2 or 3 turns is well worth it, in my opinion.
I'd run this sucker next to freaking like an Iron Man or someone, take ranged pot shots. They couldn't outwit some of my good stuff. I'd have a chance to get rid of some of it. And then when they get in close, you just move him up a few spaces and then just keep blasting him. He's awesome.
They also spoiled a 150-point Phoenix Concord piece, which is it has some really fun traits and abilities, too. It's called Wolfhawk. It has a good range of keywords, Amazon keyword, Warrior, Mage Knight, and Solanavi.
Amazon.
It has a trait Beast Bond. At the beginning of your turn, choose one standard power or combat ability possessed by a character on the map with the animal, monster, or mystical keyword. Wolfhawk can use the chosen power or ability until your next turn. So it could even take... Well, it already has Indom. It could take Flight, Duo Attack, any of the sizes. It could take... And then it could take any power that animals or monsters have. And it has... Well, unfortunately, it doesn't have any of those keywords.
It doesn't move and attack either, though.
True. So you could take Running Shot, or actually you'd rather take Charge with this thing because it has a lot of blades.
And a lot of flurry.
A decent amount of flurry and super senses and shape change as well. It also picks up a special damage power. It can use Perplex when she is not adjacent to a friendly character and she uses Perplex. She can modify an opposing character's combat value by -2.
So it's because she has Phoenix Concord. So if she's not near a friendly character to use Phoenix Concord on him, because that's the only thing I see on her dial that would help a nearby friendly character. So it kind of like makes you want to keep her away from him at least a little bit.
She also has an epic action. She can use, give her an epic action. Wolfhawk can use Incapacitate as a free action once for each 150 points of the game's build total, as if she had a range of 8. That's not bad.
That's pretty good, actually.
Drop. Okay, we've talked about how often the book goes good with this. Drop her a hammer, give her a moving attack, +2 attack puts her at 12. Give her epic action, freaking nail a bunch of enemy figures. Give her the epic action next turn, nail a bunch of enemy figures. They have to clear, you have to clear, and you rinse and repeat. She's freaking ridiculous.
Very happy with all of these Mage Knight figures so far.
The sculpts are great.
Yeah,
and we've got, 10 days before the set comes out? That and Lord of the Rings on the same day?
10 days before Drew just starts swimming in Mage Knight clicks.
I'm going to have so much.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, we got 2 very cute boys here.
Oh, yes, we do.
And one of which I'm extremely excited for.
Are you sure they're boys?
Yes, they are boys. Just because they have nice, long, luscious locks like I do does not mean they're not boys. Awesome. They're both elves.
Well, I've got a lot of things to rethink about my life.
The first one is a generic elf. It's Galadrim, Elven Soldier. He is only 32 points for 4 clicks.
Elf Soldier keywords?
He has Elf and Soldier keywords. He has range combat expert on his first 2 clicks with a special defense power. He can use Energy Shield When he is targeted with the close combat attack and he is adjacent to a friendly character with the shield keyword, he gets +1 defense. So, 6 range, and like I said, 6 range RCE, 9 on attack. So, not that amazing of stats. However, he's only 32 points.
Yeah, but with Energy Shield, that puts him up at a 17 for range. Isn't too bad.
It's going to put him up higher than that, and I'll show you why.
Oh, yeah.
Halder has a 17 defend, the same keywords, and he has enhancement for those little 32-point elves. So now those 32-point elves now become 19 defense 32-point elves with enhancement for an extra damage and a special epic action. Halder, once per game, give him an epic action. Choose up to one friendly character per 200 points of the game's build total. During your turn, you may give each chosen character a power action, and they may each make 2 ranged combat attacks as free actions. If Halder is a chosen character, so basically you can choose him for the trait as well, or for the epic action as well, his power action may be given as a free action.
So he can take 2
So he can
shots.
do it. It basically lets him do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And see, what's great about that is his enhancement gets double the effectiveness then. Because 2 shots with enhancement is better than freaking 1 heavy shot with enhancement.
He also has a special attack power, which further buffs your little 32-point elves.
Oh my gosh.
Damage dealt by ranged combat attacks made by friendly characters adjacent to Halder can't be reduced to less than 1.
My gosh, that's
Hunter,
cute.
does that have a keyword restriction of some sort?
No, it does not.
Because, this is a good 60-point support piece, period, for ranged pieces, it looks like.
Would you put him with an Iron Man and then run around shooting at things? Is that what you do?
Yes.
No.
In a heartbeat.
You're only allowed to play with elves, god dang it.
Well, apparently you can bring in some soldier from Mage Knight to run around with Iron.
I cannot
I'm
wait
just saying.
to get my hands on this guy and about 6 or 7 of those little archers.
I'm sure you can.
If anybody... Shut up. If anybody wants to get rid of some Galadrim elven soldiers, hit me up. I'll buy them from you. Anybody want to talk about Black Mask Thug or Black Mask from the Arkham Origins set?
Silence.
Fine.
I'm not... These guys are ridiculous.
They're pretty good.
Well, not the thugs, the Black Mask.
See, okay, so I've had a lot of Twitter conversations with people who are like super excited about the Black Mask. He's not that goddamn good.
Well, see, my problem with a lot of the...
He's not bad, but he's not that good.
It's his attack power, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
Meh. Listen to this word.
Meh.
Meh. I don't...
Just read the thug.
All right, let's talk about the thug. 40 points. Running shot and energy explosion with 5 range and 1 bolt, 9 attack, 2 damage, so not that devastating of an energy explosion. A defense power, minion power. When a friendly character named Black Mask is within 8 squares, Black Mask can use shape change. Okay, that's cool. And he picks up enhancement, late dial, and then he has RCE. Now,
he picks it up second click.
Yeah, second and third click, and then RCE 4th and 5th.
Here's the reason I like him, though, as a 40-point figure.
Well, he does have Batman enemy.
Batman enemy on a minion is... They don't really do that too often. Usually they give him Underworld.
The other false facers have it.
Oh, really?
The SOG... Here's my thing, and looking at... We're going to talk about Black Mask. The Black Mask from this set is far better than the SOG Black Mask. However, I like the other false facers from SOG better than these guys.
Agreed.
I like 40-point enhancers with... The
Black Mask is 100 points. He has no Endom. He has stealth, most of his dial, and he has a special attack power that everybody's getting a little excited about. Give Black Mask a power action, and all adjacent friendly characters that have the Assassin keyword or share a keyword with him, which he has Gotham City Underworld and Arkham Asylum, may immediately be given a move action as a free action.
Okay, now here's what I like about this, though. Because he's Arkham Asylum and Gotham City Underworld. The figures that I like from those keywords typically are figures like Killer Croc or a lot of the Jokers where they don't have move and attack. And they usually have like Flurry or Blades or something like that. So this allows you to move them into position a lot easier ahead of time and just freaking Flurry Blade somebody right out the gate.
His whole dial, he has Outwit, and he has either Outwit or Perplex. He has Reflexes or Mastermind on pretty much all of it. And then late dial, he picks up Toughness, Willpower, and Antelope Poison. Like I said, I definitely like it. I definitely want it, and I'll definitely play it. But people on Twitter and Facebook have been messaging me, and they're a little bit too excited about this thing. It's not that
I don't
good.
think he's broken. I think he's good. I don't think he's broken.
I wouldn't even get excited about him. He's 100 points.
Yep.
Just to get run him and Deathstroke together.
No.
That's 250 points. Or actually, Deathshot is 150. Deathstroke's 200, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't run him with Deathstroke or something like that.
They're like, you can give him a free move. You're going to pay 100 points just to move that Deathstroke 8 square.
Just go play GCPD and get it for like 30 less points.
I would, if I was going to run him, I'd run him with a lot of smaller, like 50 to 70 point pieces, and get the most use out of the fact that when you trigger that, it's all at once.
Well, people are thinking that this is basically when they read this, they're like, "Ooh, Lieutenant Gordon," but with the assassins. It's not near as good as Lieutenant Gordon. Here's a couple reasons why.
There's
Black
no
Mask
card.
does not get to move as well.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
And Lieutenant Gordon does. B,
The ATA.
Lieutenant Gordon has about 5 more keywords to choose from than Black Mask has on his ability. And C, Lieutenant Gordon is 33 points cheaper and a better dial for the points than this guy is.
Yep.
Does Lieutenant Gordon have a indom?
He has willpower.
Okay.
Pretty much the whole dial. And then he gets toughness.
He's not.
I like him. The sculpt's cool.
He's good.
His
I'm gonna
suit's
use him.
good.
I like him better than the SOG one. That's for sure.
Yeah, the SOG one was crap for its points.
Yeah.
But I like the False Facer SOGs. But you guys can look at those, each version, and see what kind of combo you'd like to run with them. These guys are way better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
In fact, I would run this thing with like Infinity Gauntlet by itself at 300 points and have a decent
I think you should tell the nice people what you're talking about, Hunter.
We're talking about Absorbing Man and Titania from Invincible Iron Man.
Now, see what I was going to say about these people about them that I really like. This gives us kind of a feel of how many points Absorbing Man's going to be. Because if you take the Titania from Fear itself and subtract it, at most Absorbing Man's going to be 140-ish. So we're kind of looking at like an Absorbing Man between 120 to 140.
That's where I would put him anyways, about 140.
And that's pretty sweet though. Absorbing Man and Titania for starters have way too many keywords. They have Brute, Femizon, Frightful 4. Well, I guess they're a bunch of keywords that aren't really used too often. Lethal Legion, Masters of Evil, and Wrecking Crew. They have improved movement. They ignore hindering and characters. They have a special trait called Wreckage. When they KO an opposing character, they roll a d6. On a 3 to 4, you place a light object in that character's square. On a 5 to 6, you place a heavy. So, hey, I'm just going to pop and beat the crap out of one guy and then instantly roll, get a heavy object, and go blast somebody else. They have another trait called Strongest Couple there is. But they get Plasticity and Super Strength. They may pick up and hold 2 standard objects at the same time.
Oh my God.
And they may choose 0, 1, or 2 objects during each close combat attack.
That's sick because most of the time you have a heavy object, you only need to hit somebody for 2 or 3 to kill them, and you're already dealing that. You don't want to waste your object. They have the option to keep that object, to not use it during the attack, and then use it against somebody.
Here's the reason I like it, though. Normally, if you pick up 2 heavy objects and you use both at once, it's a waste. You lose 1 bonus off of it, right? Because the combat modifiers for damage would be +4 then. If you take a heavy and a light, which is usually what's out there on the field next to each other somewhere, you can pick up a heavy and a light, get your +3 damage on your swing, or you could choose to pick up 2 heavies and during duo attacks smack with one, and then on the other one smack with the other. Mm-hmm. They're just an awesome piece. I really like them. They have a special attack ability. Give them a free action, and they can place a standard object on the map in an adjacent square. Hey,
they're just smacking the piss out of
every
people.
turn,
all game long.
Hey, Hunter.
What?
Smacking the piss out of people.
Piss is not a cuss word.
Piss is a cuss word.
Give me that shit.
Nope.
Oh, motherfucker.
Oh, I love this podcast.
I'm only drinking for shit. I'm not drinking for piss.
Does that count as another one?
No, it doesn't. Shut the hell
Because
up.
piss is not a cuss word.
Okay. They have a special damage power. They can use Blades, Claws, Fangs, and Close Combat Expert. When they use the duo attack ability, they may use one of these powers during the first and the other during the second.
Jeebus Christ.
Now, something really cool about this figure, it's 250 points. They have Masters of Evil, of course. I forgot to note that. They have an ATA written on the card.
That's a good ATA.
Which is the Wrecking Crew ATA. A character using this team ability can use improved movement, ignores hindering. When a character using this team ability uses charge, they get +1 attack, and it costs 2 points.
Wow.
I like the fact they're including ATAs on cards like this, because it kind of gives new players like some kind of feel for ATAs and how they work. It also allows them to release new ATAs like this, where they don't have to do like a mass release of some sort.
I know we always say on this podcast, like, a piece is good for this resource or whatever. Like, we say that with every fig, because resource can make anything better. This is one of, and I'm prefacing that because I'm going to say this, but I actually really mean it. This is one of the better gauntlet targets that I've ever seen.
Which we haven't had too many good gauntlet targets.
Here's a few reasons why. It plus the full gauntlet is 300 points. Go ahead and throw 290. Go ahead and throw the ATA on it for 2 more points.
You can't throw a tank turret gauntlet.
Because you're getting Steel Energy.
Yep.
And
Masters of Evil.
Yep.
So every turn, they can keep attacking, and as long as they deal damage, they're going to heal that click back.
Yep.
And they're going to be faster spinning their gauntlet. So every turn, they're going to be smacking people and constantly dropping objects. That you're not going to be able to outwit their impervious or their invincible, so you're always going to get to, have to make your opponent deal with that. I think it's one of the better Infinity Gauntlet, or at least one of the more fun Infinity Gauntlet targets that we've seen in a while.
Yeah,
it definitely is.
And it's been kind of funny because recently we've been really on the belt and the book, of course. But it's not too often a piece comes up that we say, I think the Infinity Gauntlet would go better on this than the belt or the book. So, I fully agree. I'd throw a book on... I want to do that now. I want to throw a gauntlet on this figure and go play it.
Yeah, when it comes out, I'm definitely going to try it at 300 point, just for fun.
It reminds me of the Nightwing Batgirl duo when that came out, and we were like, we're throwing a gauntlet on that, and we're just going to go to town.
So, Invincible Iron Man set, looking pretty good so far.
I was going to say, all the spoilers so far have been amazing.
We got the dial for the Cyclops from the X-Men
dear
base.
God.
It's pretty dang good.
Why don't you tell us about it, Drew?
Okay, this Cyclops is ridiculous. He's got 2 options, 150 and 100. He's got Indom, 8 range, and Sharpshooter, which is, for 100 points, you're already getting value. His top dial on 150 starts with a 9 running shot, 11 precision strike, 17 energy shield, and a special damage ability. He can use leadership and outwit. When he uses leadership, and adjacent characters with a shared keyword are considered to have a lower point value. So
he can clear tokens off the team base if you pop them off.
And he has one of the most expensive keywords, the ruler. So he can clear.
And his little improved targeting is pretty
This
dang
is
good
the reason. So he has outwit, but he has 8 range, outwit, and he can see through.
Outwit won't work like that. It only works on attacks, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure improved targeting states.
Well, he has improved targeting, ignores blocking and opposing characters.
It destroys blocking, and I don't think that's opposing characters. I think that's his line of fire includes a line. This
symbol is usually what they use for flyers when they move in. Means ignores opposing characters. So basically, I think it means. Well, I guess we can check, but he may get to see past his friendly characters as well.
Do you have a modern PAC around here somewhere? Buddy?
It will be in that backpack. So while Austin's looking that symbol up, you already talked about his leadership and his outwit. Top dial for 150, he's doing 4 damage with precision strike.
Yep.
His acid dial is pretty good.
Yeah, he can use leadership when they do it, and the result is a 6 remove an action token from them.
So nuts. Another team base that has that is the 2x2 Teen Titans.
Yeah. Now, see, me and Ricky,
I managed to hit that a couple times, and it was very good.
Me and Ricky had a talk about this Cyclops because we were talking about how in AVX we figure they're going to mirror the team bases a little bit, to where the cap will probably be a lot like this Cyclops. And one of the things I particularly like about him is he has a 150 and a 100 point for leadership, and those are 2 really good targets for a leadership character in the first place, not counting the fact he can do it for keywords. I mean, if I want a leader on my party, I don't want or on my team, I don't want a 90 point figure.
Right.
I want an exact 100 or exact 150 for my big characters.
He gets another good piece. If you start him at 100 points, he starts with a special movement power that's pretty good. It's Force Blast and Running Shot. And when he uses Running Shot after actions resolve, he can use Force Blast as a free action. The reason that's good is he has Sharpshooter with that.
Yep.
So you could run in, base somebody, shoot them, and then roll your D6 if you need to roll it a lot. Like if you want to try to roll a 6 and maybe knock them off of elevated or something. Whereas your normal damage isn't going to be enough to cut it. You could do that and then roll your D6, try to get lucky, and knock them back off of something.
Okay, so his improved targeting means that when he makes attacks, he blows up blocking. When he normally does it, he won't. But the little through circle means that he can shoot while adjacent to enemies. Or he can shoot non-adjacents.
Okay, make a ranged combat attack while adjacent to an opposing character. So basically he does what new players always think Sharpshooter lets them do.
Yeah.
Yeah. While he's based, he can shoot other opposing characters like a Colossal can do, which is pretty goddamn good, too.
Yeah.
And
with Sharpshooter, you're like, I'm just going to shoot through the guy in front of me.
I was talking to somebody, I can't remember who it was, a couple weeks ago, and I was saying how that Hawkeye should have that power. Yeah. Because when Hawkeye's fighting, he's always like, defending himself and then boom, popping somebody, like helping Cap out or something.
I think we'll definitely see a Hawkeye with that.
It would be cool to see. Yeah. So this figure's pretty good, and people are pretty excited about it for good reason.
I mean, that's a solid. People have been asking for a good high point Cyclops that really locks in his abilities as a leader and stuff, and this really does.
It's actually a perfect Cyclops.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think we're going to get much better than that in the perfect idea of what Cyclops would be for a leader role.
There's another Invincible Iron Man spoiler. It's actually from the Gravity feed, and you were asking last week. I wonder what generics there will be in the set. Here's a generic right here: Dreadnoughts. They have tons of keywords: AIM, Enforcer, Hydra, Magi, Mandarin's minions, and Robot.
All that new robot ATA.
Yeah, 75 points with the Hydra TA.
A Hydra TA and penetrating
giant size.
Yep.
And Indom.
Pin size, 75 point, giant size, Hydra Giant. I mean, that alone is ridiculous. Throw in Hydra Giant with pin size, and that's just stupid.
They start off charge super strength, and then second and third click they have running shot with energy explosion, 2 bolts, and poison. So they're pretty dang good.
They're fun 75 point.
Pretty dang good.
Not exceptional, but definitely fun for generic pieces. And it's always good to have more robot fighter.
I'd like to have them in a large. To me, they'd be better in a really high point game.
Austin brought this up this week. The Deadpool Fast Forces is confirmed to be the Thunderbolts.
The Ross's Thunderbolts from the current run.
Right. Red Hulk, Deadpool, Punisher, Elektra, Venom, and Mercy. Which is, it's weird to see them do Mercy instead of Red Leader. I figured it would be Red Leader.
I was hoping it'd be Red Leader. But then again, he doesn't really have that many powers right now.
I like Mercy, we've talked about that series before. It's not that great. The story is decent, but the art's crap. I did like the issue with just them messing, right after they had Mercy on their ship and they capture her. She's a pretty interesting character.
I want to know more about her.
So hopefully the fact that they're putting her in this Fast Forces means that in the comic they'll kind of flesh her out more and show more information about her, because she is pretty cool. My man Puck. We've already talked about you don't F with Puck.
Oh, yeah, this is a silly guy.
His name's Puck.
He don't give a...
He has 40 points. He's so good for 40 points.
It's just ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous how good he is for 40 points. Top dial, he's a charge with 6, 10 attack, and 2 exploit with 16 plus reflexes. That alone is worth 40 points.
And he's got Indom.
He has Indom. He alternates charge and flurry for a few clicks.
Ignores hindering on movement.
He has exploit for half of his clicks. He's a good piece for 40 points.
Soldier keyword.
I love Puck in the comics. He cracks me up.
Me and Harry were talking because we really hope that the main set Puck is throwable, like an object. Because that would totally make my day.
Oh my gosh.
Just let someone pick him up and toss him across the map at somebody.
That'd be great.
We also got some photos, some pictures of the sculpts of the Yu-Gi-Oh set, which
they finally went into production, and they look amazing.
Phenomenal. We've already talked about on the podcast how good they've done with the Yu-Gi-Oh!
With the models. We hadn't seen the actual...
These are actually not the what am I trying to think of? Like, these are the
These aren't
actual
prototypes.
Yeah, prototypes. These are the actual dial, like the actual figures.
They're painted up. They look really good. Like, I was excited for this set, like, from the nostalgia of, like, a kid who used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! But, like, seeing these sculpts is awesome. I really can't wait to see what the rest of them look like, especially what the chases are.
Yeah.
Giant looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I will link these on the on the podcast if you guys want to check them out for yourselves. We got an idea of what the prices will be for the Deadpool set and the distribution on the rarity,
and some hints at some other stuff showing up in there.
It's pretty dang weird to me. Single figure $2.99 foil packs will consist of friends and foes of Deadpool, including Domino, Daredevil, and the Secret Empire. The booster packs $12.99. First of all, that's $1 more?
That's a 50-cent jump.
Okay.
MSRP is $12.50 right now.
We'll have more than 80 all-new figures, including the Marvel HeroClix fan vote winner, Teleporting Mutant Blink. The rarity breakdown is 19 commons plus 1 prime, 19 uncommon plus 1 prime, 19 rare plus 1 prime, 15 super rares.
What?
That's gotta be wrong.
That's like...
The Wolverine had a lot.
No,
It wasn't no 15. I'll count them, but it damn sure.
It was like
oh,
9.
god dang it. Just freaking cussed again. It dang sure wasn't 15. Drew, count them while I take my shot.
Oh, you gotta put it on there. Let's see.
There definitely was not
1,
15.
2,
Hold on.
3,
It starts at Phoenix.
4. Oh, Phoenix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12.
There's 11, right?
12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, you're right, 12. Man, it doesn't seem like there really was that many. So how much did we say in Deadpool?
15.
So they got 3 more SRs. I find it weird that they have the same number of uncommons as commons, though.
Yeah, that kind of threw me off too. There's only 4 chases. Sub-themes...
See, I'm just wondering if they dropped the chases down, or if since they have so few chases, instead they just did more super rares.
Maybe, but I don't like that many hard-to-get figures. It's going to be expensive to collect the thing.
I talked to somebody about that today because, like, I kind of do like there being more rare figures because it makes trading easier. Because right now, if I go to trade with someone, chances are they pretty much have everything from the set from just buying, like, a brick or two. And it's nice to have a little more rarity distribution.
Well, I mean, Superman had 4 chases, and all those chases are pretty easy to get if you look at it.
Yeah,
like
but that's way down the line, and that was an overprinted set. But the reason I find this breakdown weird is because it almost fits a super booster set breakdown.
I mean, it does have primes, but
I mean, like, just the way it's set up. And I was talking to Harry about that today because we joked about it last podcast. Like, they could do Marvel vehicles with Deadpool, but with only 4 chases, a chase every other brick would fit that, and then they could do super boosters.
I don't know. I guess you know what though. I feel like if there were super boosters in it, they would have said it in this.
They didn't with Wolverine till way into the announcements.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. But another interesting note: they did say that Daredevil will be confirmed.
Yeah, I'm very happy with another Daredevil.
Can't wait for a new Daredevil.
I remember one of our very first games of Clicks. Drew had a Daredevil that every time he would use super senses would deal damage to him.
Oh yeah, it was the common Hulk one.
Yeah.
That was the most frustrating piece of crap Daredevil I've ever had to face in my life because Drew would hit every single super senses roll.
So one big
Oh, God.
important news. Well, not really news, just kind of a spoiler that got spoiled. Is the final pieces for the month 6 of Fear Itself.
And they are gonna be.
They're god-dang ridiculous. Okay. First of all, both the hammers are...
Just swear. Just
no,
get it out of your
I just swear it a minute ago. I said shit. First of all, there's 2 hammers, both of which are stupidly good for their points.
Retardedly good.
Null's hammer gives you running shot and willpower. Are you 3 points for willpower?
I don't know what you're talking about.
And +2 attack and running shot.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's...
So now if you think about it, kids... You thought it was already pretty dang cheap to pay 10 points and get the utility belt and give yourself willpower. Now you can pay 9 points for a book and a 3-point hammer, and not only do you get willpower for those 9 points, you get +2 attack and running shot. Really?
But
We needed that.
You had to be 5 squares out at least.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, darn.
It slowed me down 1 turn to get +2 attack for the rest of the
Hey,
game.
in the current meta game where games last 2
And
turns.
running shot. Anger's hammer.
Now, Anger's is the one I find
I
absolutely
figured they would
horrible
give
as
it.
hell.
I thought they would give it charge and steal energy. Because giving it toughness, I was like, they won't give it toughness. That's too much.
Yeah.
No, you
when
get charge, regen, steal energy, and toughness.
I remember on podcast we talked about this. I said, look at their
Jesus
traits.
Christ.
I said, look at their traits, and you'll get an idea for what the hammers will be. And we saw regen, steal energy, I was like, oh gosh, they're going to make a hammer that's regen, steal energy. And then we go and check that out, and all of a sudden they had charge and toughness on this too.
Oh, it's so...
Just regen, steal energy is stupid.
Well, I will say one thing. I'm glad they waited until now to do those hammers. I'm glad we haven't had to deal with these hammers the entire time of Feared Zone.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't have to deal with freaking Dracula having regen his whole dial. Or...
The null got spoiled. This is the null that will be for the Mighty Worthy prizes, and I actually like him a lot.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's a 215 points. What is that? 9 clicks? 9-click long dial. He has no move and attack at all. However, he has a kind of a better sidestep. He has a trait. Give him a free action. Move him up to 3 squares, breaking away automatically. He has flurry for the first 6 clicks of his dial. So I don't know if I prefer it, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Being able to auto breakaway and sidestep for free, and you
he's
can
a
do
giant.
that even when you clear. He'll be able to do that.
You know what would make him good? A hammer that gives you charge, regen, steal energy, and toughness. That would give...
Well, while you're at it, just drop him running shot and willpower.
Yeah, right. I mean...
Why would you want to do that? They already got in on.
He has a special attack power, poison and super strength. When he destroys a square of blocking terrain with an attack, deal 1 unavoidable damage to each opposing character adjacent to that square.
See, and I like stuff like that because particularly it helps you stop lockdowns where an enemy is really has their defense perked up and stuff, and you just can't break it.
Or if they barrier themselves in, because it just says blocking terrain, so you could charge, bust the barrier, and make them take damage.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, he's a cool piece.
It's flavorful. It's cool.
You can TK giants, right?
No,
Dang.
only standard sized characters.
See, I wasn't sure about that.
Actually, I think with 2013 they updated it to let you TK tinies. Let me double check.
Yeah,
that.
they did.
Yes, they added tinies. It wasn't on 2012. So he's 215 points. He's a little expensive, but I kind of like his dial.
Yeah.
Now the serpent.
This has me so excited.
We won't get into super detail because it's pretty goddamn confusing. I mean,
it's not.
There's a lot of steps
Okay.
to talk about on the podcast, but we can overall give an idea.
To summarize how he works, you have a fear dial on his thing, and as you deal damage, at the beginning of the game you roll, and you turn it so many times to start it. But it's basically just numbers, 1 through 12. And as the game progresses and you deal damage, you click up, and he gets stronger. But he also gets power actions as free actions based on the click of the fear dial, and combat modifiers. So he gets really, and his range is based on the fear dial and stuff like that. It's a really cool mechanic, and there's a lot of powers that are based on what click it's on and stuff like that. I like him because he's got that boss fight mechanic we've talked about before with Colossals. Like Zero and the Tester has a little bit, and some of the other ones. Where it feels like you're, I don't want to say racing against the clock, but you feel like you're in a major epic encounter, as opposed to I don't know, Giganto to a point feels like just a big character.
Yeah.
He is just a big character.
Just a big
He's
character.
not that expensive, though.
Yeah. But I like this figure. I mean, the powers, of course, are what you expect on a Colossal. I mean, I'm not even going to go over them all because they're pretty straightforward. He lacks move and attack, though, which is something to point out. He has charge a little bit and some running shot here and there, but for the most part, he's just phasing teleport. But since he can get free actions from the fear dial, he's a cool piece. I'm sure Hunter will post it for you guys to go check it out.
Yeah, I'll link it in the description.
I highly suggest you guys go check it out. It's really cool. The one thing to note that's hilarious, though, everyone keeps getting Mighty and Worthy mixed up when we're talking all the time. And it looks like someone who works at WizKids also did, because the Serpent has the Mighty keyword instead of the Worthy keyword.
That's got to be a misprint.
It's a misprint.
That'll get fixed. Oh my gosh, don't get me started on keywords. Force that shot.
Oh, he didn't get any.
I don't think that was a misprint, though.
Shut the hell up.
God, Drew,
That's not a curse word.
you said hell.
That's not a curse word.
He said it with one L.
I'm taking a shot.
I think you just want to take a shot.
He's just wanting to take a shot now.
But yeah, like I said, it's a boss fight colossal. It's going to be a fun one. I can't remember. Go up to the fear dial. Does it turn when he does the damage, or does it turn when it begins at 1 at the beginning of turn? Roll a d6 and click it that to the right half the result. When an opposing character takes damage from the serpent. Okay, because I was wondering if it'd be
You
good
turn
to
it once to the right every time somebody takes damage
from him. Yeah.
If he takes damage,
Once,
you turn.
you roll a d6 and he has a 50% chance to turn it to the left if he takes damage. It stays the same if he changes dials, though. See, the thing that's kind of cool about him is you pay for all the dials and you pick the order you want to play the dials in.
Do you get to pick them?
Yeah.
That's cool because most colossals you have to play it in a certain way.
If I recall, it says that you can pick which dial comes next.
No, there it is. Each dial is played in sequence from highest point to lowest.
Okay, never mind.
So it's like a typical colossal. You have to go 6, 5, 2. It's pretty cool.
It's a cool prize colossal.
Now it does have move and attack if you play full points there.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
If you played him for 1,300 points,
Oh dear God, is that a 7 damage?
he has a 10 running shot, 13 pulse wave with 9 range, so 5 range on a pulse wave, 19 impervious, power cosmic, and 7 damage shape change.
Let's go over some of his special powers, because some of these are pretty cool, actually. His trait is raise the buildings, cover the ocean at 600 points. At the beginning of the game, choose one contiguous area of elevated terrain, if any. That terrain is now elevation 2, and all elevated terrain is grounded, hindering terrain instead. So,
What the hell?
you could just equal out a whole area to level 2 terrain.
I don't know. I guess you would take the hindering markers and just place them again
And all
across all
other
the
elevated terrain. I'm wondering if there's anything, because like it says cover the oceans. Is there any part of that makes it where it's not water? That
No,
terrain's
because
elevation,
it says it's elevated, so...
and all other... That terrain is now elevation 2, and all other elevated terrain is grounded, hindering. Huh. Oh well. He has an attack power called Lightning Breath.
You know, I love when WizKids make stupid powers like this, so it makes it even harder to rule as a judge. That's freaking... that makes me
Brilliant.
Stupid. God dang it, mother freak. You're waiting for me to cuss. I know.
I know,
what
that's
you're
why I'm
saying.
sitting here, I'm staring.
I'm legit.
He's too legit.
I didn't
to
cuss a
quit.
single time.
His attack power is Lightning Breath. It's draw a beam line, basically, and shoot through it and hit anyone adjacent. Each hit character's dealt 3 damage.
Ooh.
His damage power is Draw in My Power. Now, I like this one. When this power is first revealed, put a number of tokens on this card equal to Fear. As a free action, remove any number of them to modify any of his combat values by that amount until your next turn. So, like, you could take off 3 tokens, choose damage, and then modify his damage. And it's kind of cool because then you just kind of, like, expend... Well, I don't want to say expend your fear, but when you hit that point...
I like how they say this power can't be countered, and he has power cosmic anyways. That's a little redundant.
That's true.
But, whatever.
You know what this guy could use?
I guess if you're Adam Warlock and you took away his power cosmic, then you'd have to also...
Yeah, then his other ones are pretty simple. His 500 point has a trait. He can use Quake once during your turn. He can use it as a free action, which is always cool on a Colossal. I mean, if once again adds to the boss
Especially
fight.
when you have Psychic Blast, you can Quake them away from you and then Psychic
Yeah.
Blast them. Because you can ranged as a Colossal while you're based, but you can't shoot the people that are basing you. So
Yeah.
that would let him shoot the people that are basing him if he can Quake them away. I'm going to post these on the podcast. We're not going to go over all the other dials. So we've talked about this stuff for a long time. So that's tons of news. Is there any other part of this that we... No, this is all for the month 6 kit. We're going to be talking about the Phoenix too.
Yeah, I will note for those, because this has come up a lot in our discussion. Last month there is not an LE prize for the month. Instead, you get 2 hammers as participation, and then the main prize, of course, is the serpent
And then the null for the factions.
because that's come up a lot at events.
2 extremely
Now,
broken.
some events will give away the null as the month 6 winners. I know that CBU did that last year. They gave away the penguins as the...
Oh yeah, that's right, they did.
So, I guess it really depends on
on how your judges
ask your judges as far as how they're going to do prizes on that. Our Just the Tip this week is... It's kind of a simple one, but it's one that actually even I catch myself messing up sometimes. And to put it, it's kind of hard to put it in words, but if I had to put it into a sentence, it would be...
Screw Drew.
Just because you have the opportunity to do something doesn't mean it's the best option for you at the time. And I'll give you...
It's be conservative, pretty much.
Well, no. Here's what I mean by this. I'll give you an example. Let's say you and I only have one piece left each. And I have Charge Exploit and 3 damage. And that's pretty dang good combo. But I also have 6 range. And you do not have any move and attack at all. And you have 0 range. Should I move in and exploit you and try to hit you for 3, or should I try to shoot you for 1?
Yeah.
I should shoot you for 1. But when you look at that charge exploit, you get all excited in the pants.
Yep.
And you're like, oh boy, I'm on a charge exploit. When really, your best option is to make them take extra actions to move in on you. Because you have the advantage. You can do damage, and they can't do jack crap about it.
Yeah.
And you can make them take extra actions to move in on you. And then you'll get to exploit them when they move in on you. You need to... This is one of those things that we've brought up several times. Constantly be evaluating the game as you're playing, because things will change from turn to turn, from matchup between your character and their character to the next opponent.
And for a future just the tip, and we'll get more depth. Don't play in the now. Play in the next turn. It's just like chess in that regard. And that's a big part of this. And we've talked about this before a little bit with hypersonic characters. Just because you can hypersonic in and blast somebody for 5 or 6
just because you can reach them on this turn doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to leave yourself stranded.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one thing that I've caught myself after the game. I've been like, why did I do that?
I could have
advantage.
waited a turn. I could have made him come to me. Yeah, I've done that.
Sometimes you get a little ahead of yourself and you get excited because you have move and attack when it's not always in your best interest actually to use it.
Yep.
So be thinking of the advantages. You know, we talk a lot about while you're playing, look at the advantages. If you have a lot of cutting through dampeners and they don't, if you have a lot of dampeners and they don't have a lot of ways to cut through it, go after, like in our game.
Yeah.
If you would have went after tier and you would have knocked him off exploit, I would have been totally effed.
Yeah.
I would have never cut through all that impervious. We talk about that all the time, but this is one of those things that's kind of hard to notice as you're playing. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you don't have to.
It's a hindsight's 20/20 thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You always notice it afterwards when you think about it. Like, I should have done this and then this.
So that's my just the tip for this week. Constantly be evaluating, and just because you have the opportunity, you have these powers at the moment that are really good, doesn't mean it's necessarily in your best interest at the moment to actually do it. What I've been finding... Oh, I'm sorry. That's where I lost my train of thought for a minute. What I've been finding while I've been playing games, especially here lately, is the biggest advantage as far as we talk about advantages, like what advantage do I have my opponent? The absolute biggest one is, do I have move and attack and they don't? By far, it's such a huge advantage. And I talked about it when we did the Bizarro event, and I had the All-Star Bizarro, and I had Hypersonic, my opponent didn't. I mean, that was a 600-point match, and I won it because of that.
If I had $1 for every Teen Titan sealed I lost for my opponent having Hypersonic and I didn't, I would have like $5.
Yeah, you lost. Remember, you lost move and attack during our game today, and
that was... I mean, if I would have purposely clicked myself like I should have and gotten charge, pulse wave, and all that stuff, that would have made the difference. But I never thought about it until afterwards.
And that ties into yet another one of know your pieces.
Yeah. Moving on to community. This week's community question: which upcoming CTD set are you most excited for? Now you already know.
A lot of answers for this one.
Yeah, we did. You already know Drew's answer.
Midnight.
You already know my answer. Lord of the Rings. Austin, what's yours?
See, this is a hard one because although I'm excited for all of them, none of them really are screaming by me at the moment. And I'm kind of scaling back my clicks and trying to give stuff priority.
I think you should buy some Lord of the Rings and then trade me all your elves.
I think you should buy some.
I think I just sold all my Lord of the Rings today, so I'm out. Honestly, I think the one, if I have to say the one I'm anticipating wanting the most, strangely enough, I think I'm going to say Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually.
Well,
the mechanics cool.
Well,
the
yeah, I
sculpts are
guess
nice.
Yu-Gi-Oh's involved. Actually, when I posted this question, I said Mage Knight. I said the 3.
Okay, those
because Yu-Gi-Oh's a long way off.
It's February.
Yeah, What of those three? Of Lord of the Rings, Arkham Origins, and Mage Knight are you
The
looking?
pieces I'll play the most will be Arkham Origins, I think. Assassin keyword's one of my favorite keywords. There's a lot of really good figures out of that set, and once again, gorgeous sculpts. I like the set. It's going to depend on what else kind of rounds out the set of how much I'll buy. But I'll buy some Two Towers, of course, because mounts are awesome. That's a freaking cool mechanic they're doing there.
Yeah, you will.
You're used to getting on it. This guy.
Anyways,
That counts as vulgarity. Take a shot.
take a wild guess as to what got the most votes when I tallied up
Arkham Origins.
by far Arkham Origins. However, Mage Knight did really well.
Well, yeah.
I was really surprised and happy with how many people said they were really looking forward to Mage Knight. And Lord of the Rings got a couple votes. So overall, you guys were mostly interested in the Arkham Origins. No big surprise, because that's a main comic set over the other two. However, we did get a decent amount of people excited for Mage Knight.
I still want Injustice clicks. Come on, guys, make it happen.
Well, we get those like with every
Yeah,
DC
that's
set.
But I mean, like, I want a cool... Well, think about it. We get a nice Black Adam.
Dude, you gotta understand something. You're never gonna get Injustice clicks now unless they make another game. Because that phenomenon is gone.
Not really. Injustice is still pretty popular.
Well, yeah, as a fighting game, but what I'm saying is that
The window for...
the hysteria has come and gone.
The best build we already talked about. We have our winner. I will be emailing you or PMing you on... I think he was at HG Realms. I'll be PMing you, and I'll make your custom action chip tokens. And here in a couple weeks, I will give out the assignment for the November best build. Once we get around a little bit closer to that due date. Dial design. It's a big week for us for dial design.
Oh, man, me and Drew agonized over this the whole way.
you guys
I spent like half a day Friday grading these dials because we have so many entrants.
I spent 4 hours this morning alone.
We have between like 20 to 25 people entered in this month's dial design.
It's ridiculous.
And all the single dial entries are due as of now. And pretty much everybody submitted theirs. We will be scoring them. Actually, I think we've all done our scoring. I just need to conglomerate all of them and get it all tallied up. And I'll be posting that very, very soon. I'll try to get it up tomorrow if I have time. If not, I'll try to get the scores up Monday. So we'll have your scores for the first 3 weeks, but you still have to submit to us your team-based dial for the 4th week. And your team base will be due by October the 26th.
And I think we should clarify, if you have more than 3 people on your team base, we're not going to be looking at those extra characters to calculate them into your final score. So even if you add them on there to like finish it out for other people to talk about or whatever, that's cool and all. They will play no role in anyone's score.
Right. I have instructed everybody, when you grade the team bases, look at, here's what I want from you. The team base and then the asset dial. That's what we're going to be scoring. And then if you want to add on the characters as well, that's fine. But we are,
Dial design's fun.
Like Austin said, we're not going to take them into account because some people are only playing 3 and some people are playing multiple. Also, with your team base, do not forget to include your starting values, what the point options for, 2 or 3. Actually, I think every team base that's ever been made has 3 options. So give 3 options as starting lines on your team base as to what click that starts on. It doesn't have to be all cute and color-coded on the code. You can just tell me, the 400 point starts at 1, the 300 point starts at this. That's fine if you can't figure out how to do it correctly. Because it is a little confusing, some of that code stuff.
And dear God, I would like to say to everyone who's been submitting stuff,
there's been some
awesome stuff, and it's pretty bad because my judgment on everything when I was going over stuff this morning was, does something literally make me say, "Oh crap" out loud? If it did, it locked me in for a 9. It was, and then stuff that just blew me away got a 10. You guys, it's been so hard to spread out the ratings.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys have done an amazing job across the board.
I think I've given 5 or 6 10s out of... We had 22 entrants, I think. So if you think about that, that's 66 dials we've had to look over the last couple of days at store.
I've been pretty stingy with my 10s. But
I started out, but man, there are some just amazing pieces in here.
And there's some cool and creative ideas. Big props to you guys. That's exactly what we wanted to see out of this contest. really looking forward to seeing the team bases themselves and what crazy cool ideas you guys do with them.
Now, when we score your team bases, if you have submitted asset dial powers to us before on these characters, we're going to be factoring those in as well on the team base. When we give your team base score, we're going to look back at when you submit your team base, go ahead and rename all the asset dial powers and what each character does.
Because there's a lot of people who didn't list asset dials the first time, so we didn't clarify.
Some people did, some people didn't, and that's fine if you want to submit it when you do the character. But when you do your team base, also relist all of your asset dials, because this is now when we'll be taking those into account.
And make sure you list the ones for characters that, of course, you didn't do the dials for.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like Austin said, big props to everybody
it's been fun
for turning these in. There's been tons of really cool teams. We had, we had 2 runaway teams. We had Uncanny X-Force, Illuminati, Uncanny X-Men, Runaway, 2 Runaways, Night Shift. Which you never even hear about.
See that.
Mystique's Brotherhood.
Yeah, Mystique's Brotherhood, Starjammers, Defenders, the Cabal, Alpha Flight, which was very good, I thought. District X, which is from the NYX, which is X-23's very first, when she was very first spoiled.
Yep.
There was the Illuminati, Sinister Syndicate, Trinity of Thors, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Dark Avengers, Young Avengers, Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy, Cable and X-Force, Inhumans, Deadpool Corps, and Runaway. Or two Runaways, so. A very wide variety. I don't think we got any emails to talk about today. Let me double check that. While I'm double checking that, today our main topic is actually going to be the Phoenix Force dial, which people have already spoiled on HC Realms.
And we had in our hands today.
Yeah, we got to see it.
Yeah, our store owner went to the
Alliance Open House.
The Alliance in Fort Wayne a couple weeks ago, and he brought home a Phoenix Resource dial. And one of the which piece was it?
It's the Cyclops shard.
The little shard piece that pops off and goes onto the Phoenix dial.
I think it was a promotional one though, because it did not pop off.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to.
I assume that's why.
And I noticed it didn't have a relic side of the card either.
So,
or a resource side of the card.
We got our hands on it. Looks pretty cool. Today we're going to be talking about teaching you guys how the resource is going to work, and we're also going to talk about some pieces that kind of have some modern age pieces that have pretty good synergy with the powers that the Phoenix Force resource can grant you.
Now, I want to say before we go over the resource, at first glance, like the previous resource, is going to look really complicated.
Yep.
Even more so than the others.
I think even more so. But when it's broken down, it's actually pretty simple. It's a really cool one. I think you guys are really going to like this.
The thing that's most complicated about this is figuring out how many points you need to pay whenever you play it.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I'll kind of read from it and go over it as we go. Force construction. The Phoenix Force costs 12 points, at least one, with no more than 5 distinct Phoenix Force fragments, so you cannot double up on any of the fragments. You have to play different ones, just like the hammers on the Book of the Skull.
Yeah.
At least one, but no more than 5 distinct Phoenix Force fragments may be attached to the Phoenix Force and cost 3 points per fragment. Now, it's noting that you have to pay 12 points for the resource and 3 points for each fragment. However, you're going to have to pay 3 points again for each character that you wish to assign the Phoenix Force.
So kind of like the Batcave.
It gives you different options. Yes, you could actually play the Phoenix Force with 3 fragments, but only assign it to one character.
Yeah, just so you'd have the options to choose at the beginning of the game.
And that'll come into play later when we start to talk about these things in more depth. Up to 5 distinct characters with a point value of at least 40 points, so you can't give it to really cheap little minions.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Are assigned to the Phoenix Force and cost 3 points per character. But there must be at least one fragment for each character.
So
you can't run more characters than you do fragments.
I think most people on average will be running it one fragment character, fragment character. So it'll probably be 6 points effectively per character.
Setup: when placing characters in your starting area, for each distinct character assigned to the Phoenix Force, remove one fragment and assign it to that character. That fragment is a relic assigned to the character at 0 cost. The Phoenix Force has dial. Okay, so basically, right at the start, everybody who you paid 3 points to assign it to, you go ahead and take one of the fragments off, and you give them one of the fragments. And the 5 fragments are, of course, Cyclops, Namor, Colossus, Emma Frost, and Magic. Here are the powers that they grant. Cypox.
Good old Cypox.
Good old Cypox gives you range combat expert. Namor gives you the Avengers, Defenders, and X-Men team abilities. Colossus gives invulnerability. Emma gives TK, and Magic gives the character Mystics, but only when hit with a ranged attack. So at the beginning, before you even start, you get to assign each of your guys who were assigned the Phoenix Force one of those different fragments. The resource dial itself is basically 5
Groups
clusters of 5 clicks, and the more characters you have still alive,
the weaker
the powers that it's granting you. And as your characters die off, you click to a better set of 5 clicks that gives you better powers as your characters die.
Because each group is exactly 5 clicks away.
Yep.
So if you're on click 1 of the first group and someone dies, you click it 5 times, and now you're click 1 of the second group. And then until you're down to 1 person is click 1 of the 5th group. And then whenever you KO an opposing character or roll doubles, does the attack have to hit?
Well, as far as turning the dial, when a character assigned a force fragment is KO'd, so when one of your guys with the fragment is knocked out, attach their fragment back to the resource and immediately click the dial 5 times to the left. Now, the Phoenix Force dial gets better as it goes to the left. So it's going to start off kind of far to the right, where the weaker powers are, and then as your guys die, it'll turn to the left. Move the dial to the same red click number in that group. When a character assigned a fragment KOs an opposing character or hits with an attack roll, that is double. So you either have to knock them out or you have to hit and roll doubles. One or the two. After your actions resolve, click the dial once, and it means click it to the right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I just see they have them listed back.
So basically, on each cluster, your number 1 click is going to be weaker than your number 5 click. And as you either knock somebody out or you roll doubles and hit, you'll click from number 1 to number 5. 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. But as your guys die off, you'll go from weak cluster to slightly stronger cluster, but you'll stay on that same little click that you were on.
Yeah.
So if you already earned yourself up to number 3, you're going to start on number 3 on the next better cluster. But the important thing to note that's cool about this resource is when your guys die off, you're not losing those fragments. Those fragments go back on the Phoenix Force, and they're actually going to help you.
I didn't even notice.
Anytime. So I want to read this first before we read victory points. When a standard power is revealed on the dial, characters assigned to the Phoenix Force can use the indicated power. When a modifier appears, all assigned characters, so it's better than the book, but it's more expensive. All assigned characters modify that combat value by the indicated amount. If the modifier has a border around it,
it's all combat.
Then they modify all values by the indicated amount.
And see, the thing is, all of them getting that power can be really good with some of these powers on the dial.
At the beginning of your turn, you may choose a fragment attached to the resource. Characters using the Phoenix Force can use that fragment's power. So, here's why I was saying it's cool that the fragments, when you lose your guys, those fragments go back on. Because now you can give that fragment that character had to everybody else who's left. So if you had magics on your magic, and your magic dies, her fragment goes back on the dial, and now at the beginning of turn you can choose that, and now all your 4 guys that are left can use the Mystic's team ability when ranged.
Here's what I like, because you could basically play 2 or 3 characters, and then pay for all 5 fragments, and then keep 2 back on there like ranged combat expert or whatever.
Right.
And then everyone would have ranged combat.
Yeah, so you have options every turn of, do they need invul this turn? Do they need range combat this turn?
There's a lot of cool combos and fun potential here.
And you know what would be the best one to leave, in my opinion, to leave on the thing?
Telekinesis?
No, actually, Namor.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can give them all Defenders and X-Men. So then, because Defenders giving it to one character isn't that good, because you have to have two guys.
Yeah.
there.
That's true.
So if you leave Namor's on the dial and pay for it without putting it to a character, if you're just going to run 3 or 4, leave his on there, and now they can share defense values and all have defend. And be able to heal each other with the X-Men team ability and be able to move without taking away from your...
And see, the thing I like about
Total.
this dial is it's kind of a good mix of the modern resources and the old and the gauntlet, because you work towards it, and it's kind of slow in that regard, but it's also kind of quick in that it gives good powers and good abilities, but you have to build with it, like the Book of the Skulls a little bit. You have to, well, before the Hammers today. Now you have to work with the Phoenix Force resource and take advantage of it. And as an opponent, if I see that across the table, I can think of ways to stop it, or maybe I want to super spike one of their characters, or I want to weaken all their characters at once a little bit, and then knock them all out in one turn. It changes up how you want to play against it. And I feel like I like the fact there's strategy with this resource, as opposed to double power action to +2 flurry. Ghost Ride all the way to victory.
Ghost Ride the Whip.
Ghost Ride it.
I like it. It works exactly how we thought it would work.
Yeah.
When your guys die off, the rest of them get stronger. That's how it should work. I like it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little confusing when you first start using it, as far as players are... I'm going to have so many people asking
We're going to be
me,
wanting to strangle new players.
how many points is it going to cost for me to play this, and this? And I'm not going to know myself. I'm going to have to reread the card a million times and make sure I'm getting it right.
It's 3 points per shard.
It's gonna be a
3
pain.
points per character. Up to 5 of each.
But you can run more shards than characters, but you can't run more characters than shards. The shit's gonna be... God dang it, mother...
It's funny because it gets more frequent as the night goes on, because as he gets drunker, he swears more often.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, god dang it.
We definitely got to do a drunken podcast with Ricky.
That's 2 for you guys. Ricky would have passed out by now.
He'd be on the floor back there.
He'd be like, whoa, your ceiling looks like fireworks.
Ricky would have crapped on my floor. He would have ran out of here butt naked. And he'd be doing laps around my apartment building.
So I don't know why this is a bad thing. Why don't you want to do this?
Be a heck of a podcast, let me tell you what.
You guys are cleaning up afterwards. If
We'll
Ricky does.
put a mic. We'll put a wireless headset on him, so that way when he's running around your apartment complex, he can be controlled.
So what was I talking about before I cussed twice in a row?
Explaining it to players.
Yes, it's going to be a pain. But I like
You're
it.
going to swear.
So what I decided to do with these is for us to each think up a couple examples of good characters that would work with the individual fragments, as far as modern pieces that have good synergy with these. Like, who could benefit the most from Cyclops' ranged combat expert? Which modern pieces, benefit a lot from RCE?
I got a good one from RCE, and that's most Doctor Stranges have 10 to 12 range. And they usually don't have RCE anywhere on their dial. They're usually a piece you keep back. They have prob control. So you could put a little more of that RCE into damage if you wanted to.
I can dig it.
And you can just snipe somebody off. Pretty much most of the Iron Mans are kind of the same way, but they're usually like run-and gun figures as opposed to stationary turrets.
Yeah, they have a lot of running shot.
Overall, I would put that on almost any ranged character and feel comfortable if they're not a character that normally has RCE.
Drew, who do you like individually?
Oh, it's the
RC.
first name on your list, too, and that's Longshot.
Dang it, Drew, you stole it. He already has prob control.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about Longshot anymore.
Oh, yeah, here in a minute we're going to talk about our Battle Royale we did there. But he already has prop control, so throw that RCE both on damage.
Yeah.
Because he's going to hit.
He's gonna hit.
And think about it. +2 damage plus the crits.
I don't want to think about it, Hunter.
He also has a Precision Strike,
Yeah, he does.
which will work in conjunction with RC, whereas Psychic Blast and Energy Explosion will not. So Longshot's a good target. I also listed, I did most of my choices today for Wolverine and X-Men pieces. That Cyclops from the main set actually benefits from it a lot too, because he also has a couple powers that would work really well and from the Range Combat Expert. Because he has Sidestep and Force Blast, both of which would work really good with Range Combat Expert. And he doesn't start with Psychic Blast. So using the RCE lets him get that extra damage.
That makes up for the Invul or the Imperv.
Yeah, you don't care if you don't have Psychic Blast if you're dealing 6 damage, in my opinion. But Longshot's the big guy you would that could benefit the most from these.
Ridiculous.
Namor's is a little bit harder to to specify somebody. Avengers, Defenders, and X-Men team abilities. I actually said Phantom X, and I'll tell you why. Phantom X, I haven't had the pleasure of playing him yet. I thought that he could benefit from the Defenders and X-Men because he has pretty low defense values if you look. 17s, 16s, and 15s. But he's hard to hit. He has shape change and super senses, which is why they made his defense value so low.
I'd put Invul on him personally.
Being able... well, yeah. Invul would work good on anybody. But being able to share 17s and 18s with other people's puts him from hard as heck to hit to impossible.
Yeah.
If you got a freaking 18 or 19 with him having shape change and super senses, he's going to be dang near impossible to hit. And then you're also giving him X-Men. He doesn't have willpower. So giving him X-Men for a cheap little guy to heal him back up after he pushes would be really good because he can dish out some damage.
Now, see, I would expect... Usually, like, when you think about it for the Defenders aspect, you think you want it on some high point pieces. Like, you want to build a panty party of nothing but Namors. And then you have, like, the Phoenix Force Namor sharing his freaking 19 with everybody. But you also got to think about it. Defenders also lets you share low defense values for support characters.
True.
So you could find some good support characters, like a Donald Blake, maybe. You could share his really low, crappy defense. Or does he already have defend?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, you
the reason he's good as a healer is because he has such a high attack.
Yeah.
He has an 11.
Yeah, so, I mean, you could throw it to Donald Blake. And then, of course, if your opponent kills your medic, all of a sudden everyone else on your team just got better. I mean, like, there's some fun options there. But as you said, I see that being better on the actual dial than on a specific character, I think.
I also like it on 150-point Wolverine X-Men Gladiator.
Yep.
You like anything on him.
Well, I like sharing that 18 defense that he has with other people, and also letting the other people use the X-Men to heal him back up to his Invincible after he finally gets knocked off of it.
This makes me think, you know what I really want as a power? I want a reverse mastermind.
What do you mean?
As in, if someone takes the damage, that person can elect to take the damage instead of having to dish it from them. So, like, kind of like a defend combo kind of thing where it's like, oh, they're hit, I want my damage to go over here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess Mastermind would kind of cover it. But
I was gonna say, is that not what Mastermind
it'd be
is?
like granting... Well, no, because it'd be like on higher point. Like a Superman that protects somebody. Like, if you shoot Lois Lane...
Oh, you're
Superman
saying
takes
if
the
a
damage.
lower point character takes damage, the higher point character guy can
choose to take the damage instead.
But there's no point in doing that, because then your lower point guys will never take damage, because your higher point guys usually have Impervious and Invul. That's why they
I
don't
just like that idea.
That's why they don't do it.
Doctor Strange from the gravity feed would be pretty good, giving everybody energy shield and then defending with an 18.
Oh, Drewsta, this guy comes up with
so
the
that
idea.
18 becomes a 20.
The reason I said Gladiators, that like I said, that Invincible, and then they finally knock you off and then they heal it up. I've had to play twice now against Invincible teams with medics. It's so annoying.
It is really annoying.
Finally hitting them off of Invincible and then having them heal back up, you just want to punch the other player
it's
in the
going
face.
to be really annoying. Characters that have 3 clicks of Invincible in a row comboed with a regen steel energy hammer.
Well, the Gladiator has... God dang it.
With
The
plus
Gladiator has two clicks of Invincible unoutwittable. is
You know what
another
I'm going to
reason I
play
like
as soon as month 6 hammer rolls in?
it. So, I just said... Colossus gives invulnerability. You could pretty much throw Invul on anybody and make him good, but
I'd put it on Carrion because he's got 50% super senses plus
back to the hammer. What's the point of even, like, you got 2 hammers with willpower. One of them's got steel energy and you can just heal up after you put... What's the point?
Basically... Yeah.
What's the point?
Basically, Angers is giving you willpower too, because who cares if you push if you're healing from it?
Well, that's if you hit.
True.
And it has to be made.
Oh, darn, you're not going to hit with that +2 attack.
Yeah, since I only have to deal damage to heal, I don't think it's worth that 3 points, Drew.
I ain't talking to you guys. I don't want to be a part of this.
Who do you guys like the best for Colossus for giving Invul?
Anybody.
As I said, I'd throw it on Carrion, 50% super senses plus. That's ridiculous because as I ran into today during our battle royale a little bit, precision strike goes through his super senses. So having having Invul to kind of handle that a little bit.
I got a really good one. I'm letting you guys go first before I give this one away because I'm going to do it.
It's okay. Drew will probably.
Like I said, anybody with toughness is good with this thing.
Who's the character that has energy shield and combat reflexes?
Cerise. That's my number 2.
Aw.
My number 1. How many points does a character have to be to get
40.
Who's 40 points? Amazing Toad. He's already a 19 from reflexes. Give him Invul.
God, why, Hunter? Why?
Plasticity, 19 defense, and invulnerability.
And hopping around like a...
Tell me, what would be the most annoying character?
Yeah, it's pretty annoying.
I run 6 of them, motherfuckers.
And finally you kill the bastard, and you know what you just did? You made everyone more powerful.
When you see me run 5 Toads, and I leave the Colossus on the actual resource instead of putting it on the Toad...
You know what's going
Is
on.
the day I quit HeroClix.
They'll all have invulnerability.
You couldn't do it with 5. You'd have to do
That's
it with
true.
4.
I'd have to do it with
One
4.
would have to die that would have it first.
Oh,
He would take a hit for the team.
Anyways, yeah, Toad and Cerise were my number. My
Cerise would
bigs.
be amazing with that because she's already ridiculous.
This is kind of a hard one. TK, Emma's gym. Or Emma's...
I don't know if I'd say it's a hard one. Because in a team of 5 figures that are 40 or more for the Phoenix Force Dial, you're going to have some lower point figures that are support pieces anyway, some Perplexers or Outwitters.
That's a good point, because my number 1, Oracle.
Yeah.
She's not doing a lot of attacking. She has prob control for cheap, she has taxi for cheap, and she has barrier.
Yep.
But if you need TK instead of the barrier, then you give her that option. I like Oracle and I like Bunker.
Bunker would be a good
If
one.
Bunker goes ahead, throws out his barrier that lasts, and throws out a smoke cloud that lasts, now what's he going to do? He needs to stay back and do that. Now he can TK people around while his stuff is getting knocked down.
If we're talking about like Golden Age, Charles Xavier.
That was my Golden Age choice, was Charles Xavier.
This is stupid.
Because, I mean, that's what I ran Gauntlet on with that Illuminati team. I loved that one. And then, did you swear or you just taking a drink 'cause you feel like it, buddy?
I just needed a shot.
Because I said Charles Xavier.
Basically, how much is Alf? Oh wait, go ahead.
How much is who?
Alfred was what I was going to say.
42.
Yeah, buddy.
The thing about this is that suddenly you take any 40-point cheap support piece, give them this, they're Scarlet Witch.
No, they're more like 50-point Enchantress, actually. Because then they have TK. Yeah. But I agree. I mean, like, this is... Honestly, it's kind of funny for me to say. I'm really excited for this shard almost as much as some of the other ones.
I think out of all the shards, this has the most potential to be broken.
No, the invulnerability does.
I feel like Invul's going to be a pain in the butt, but...
Okay, because your Toad is going to run wild everywhere. I'll let you get
But as I said, throw it on Alfred. Alfred's already a great
You
support.
guys aren't ready for these Toads, I'm telling you right now.
Alright, man.
That Alfred's already good with his support.
Yeah,
his
Alfred
perk.
is a really good one. I didn't think about him.
You could yo-yo someone back to you and then heal them on the next turn.
Well, any support piece, because they don't need to do much at the beginning of the game.
I think Perplexers more so than Outwitters particularly, but any support piece, especially anyone
medics.
with support.
Medics are perfect because they don't need to do much at the beginning of the game. What are they going to do? Heal nothing. They're just going to be moving up.
Donald Blake's with Emma Frost.
Donald's
and
only 33.
No. Oh. I was going to say...
Alfred's perfect because he's the
Well,
only...
then we couldn't have given him Namors.
Did-
I was talking about him with Namors because of Defender.
Oh, I don't listen to what you say. No, Alfred is perfect though. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that because
Ricky, you better not be listening.
he's a more expensive medic, but that's because he gets perplexed and shape change.
Yeah, and he's just above the line.
So now giving him perplexed, shape change, and TK is pretty goddamn good.
He wasn't that good before, right?
Who do you like? Who do you like the best for magics, mystics, but only for range?
Energy shield granting Doctor Strange.
He's good.
Well, no.
Because then they're going to get in and swing anyway, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's what I'm thinking. See, I was thinking more who has reflex, who's hard to hit from close combat.
Maybe
that they want to shoot you instead. You know what I mean?
Deathstrokes. Deathstrokes usually combat reflexes, super senses.
I'm surprised he hasn't thought of the obvious one.
Who?
Starts with an H, ends with an Heimdall.
That's a good one, actually.
Heimdall, baby. Yes, Heimdall by far. Every time I face a Heimdall, I snipe the shit. God, this is
is so much fun. It's better because the look on his face right before he takes a shot is a look of sheer defeat.
I'm running out of cherry Coke to chase with.
Well, then you're going to start just drinking it straight.
That's what I usually do anyway. Yeah, every time I face a Heimdall, I just snipe him. The fact that I'd have to take Mystics to snipe his, a 9-click long dial?
Yeah.
I would have to run in on him then.
Now, once again, as I said, when your teams are built with this resource in mind, you're going to have 1, 2, 3 big figures and a bunch of support pieces.
Get ready. Heimdall, 4 toads. Meta 2012.
I literally would walk out. I would walk out of the store. I don't care if you're my ride home or not. I would run magics on. I'd run magics on some of my support pieces. Because think about it. What are they going to do? They're going to snipe off your perplexers, your outwitters.
Yeah.
Make them take some mystics in the meantime. I mean, that's part of why Scarlet Witch is such an absolute pain in the butt. It's not just because she's a good support piece. It's because she's also has mystics, so you can't pick her off.
Right.
I mean,
because she has a short dial.
And you're not going to go melee their support piece. It's all the way on the other side of the map, usually.
It'd be good with any Hulk ever.
Oh, Drew with the big idea.
With maybe a movie Hulk, perhaps.
He doesn't need the Invul. He's already got Impervious and Invincible.
So what are you going to do? You going to shoot at him?
Oh, shucks. They have to rush in and punch my Hulk, who probably has a 12 attack, 5 damage exploit weakness right now with a heavy object.
Blurry.
Worldbreaker. They shoot him, they take a damage, and you teleport next to him.
One that I like, Multiple Man.
Yeah.
Because most people don't like to get in close on Multiple Man, because when you hit him, he makes dupes, and they have Empower and Plasticity. The fact that it's like, if you're going to shoot me, you're going to take Mystics. If you want to rush in and avoid the Mystics, then you're going to have
more Multiple Man.
Then I'm getting more Multiple Man, and we're going to swarm you. So Multiple Man and Heimdall were my two.
In general, I think this is the shard that I thought was the most worthless coming into this, like when we talked about it earlier, before the podcast. But now that we've sat here and talked about it, I actually really like it. And honestly, I don't think there's any of the shards I don't like.
I'm sure you like it because it goes best on Heimdall.
Shh.
Everybody likes to talk about how much I love Tyr. This guy loves Heimdall just as much. You played Heimdall in every single Fear Itself thing you have ever done.
12 Fear Itself events, pretty much, and I've played
You played them every time. I've played Tyr in maybe 75%. Now I've played Iron Fist in like 95%. But that's because he's broken.
I've played Heimdall Iron Fist in almost every single Fear Itself.
That 80-point Iron Fist is so broken, it's beyond reason.
He's like the Karnak of this generation.
Yes, by far. Let's move into... So, hopefully that gives you guys an idea of how the Phoenix Force is going to work. I will link this on the podcast, and you guys can look in and look at the dial and look at the powers. And
I want to hear what people think, what other people think we should put with this. Like, this is a good community thing.
Yeah, go ahead and send me some emails, and we'll talk about this later, but send me emails with good ideas,
fun suggestions,
notes. If you guys have ideas for just the tips, if you guys have some good things to add, hit me up. We're going to move into comics, and unfortunately, I know you guys haven't been keeping up with Infinity, at least not this past...
Do I have to leave the room so you can talk about
No, we're not going to talk. We're not going to spoil stuff. But how are you liking Infinity so far as an event?
I'm 2 issues into Infinity. That's what I'm going to say.
You're only 2?
There's 4 out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just got them the other day. I'm 2 issues in. I was at the Revelation or whatever.
Shame on you.
He's doing better than me.
2 issues into Infinity, I'm not too... I don't want to say I'm not excited, but like it's losing its luster and I want something to happen. And judging from the look on your face right now where you're trying not to smirk, I'm going to assume something big's about to go down.
I hate you so much. Isn't the Black Bolt Thanos fight set up in the second issue?
Yeah,
you're not looking forward to Black Bolt Thanos?
Well, no, it isn't set up actually, because Black Bolt... Oh no, Black Bolt says Thanos is coming. Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's one of the Avengers that sets it up for good.
When Black Bolt like makes his big revelation and all that stuff, like I literally sat there and I was like, Hickman, you bastard. Like it just hit me like what was going to happen and what was about to go down. And like I'm really looking forward to seeing what 3 and 4 bring, and then 5 and 6 of course, depending.
Alright, well...
You want to spoil it so bad, I can just tell.
I'm not spoiling anything. We're going to bring this up after you lazy MFs.
I was going to read it
catch up on all the
I'll read it tonight.
Badassness that's... God,
I knew it was going to happen.
I'm out of cherry Coke.
I'm going to go home tonight, I'll read 3 and 4, and I'm instantly going to text you and be like, oh.
Well, you got... excuse me. You got to read the Avengers and the New Avengers too.
I will.
Okay.
How's the heist? I haven't read it yet. There's the 2 side events for Infinity right now, the Hunt and the Heist. The Heist has 1 issue out. It came out last week.
I'm not reading that side crap money grab bulge.
The Hunt was kind of
I
cool.
caught
starting
myself
out.
there, Drew. I
Hey,
caught
you
it.
got it, buddy.
I caught it. No shot for me.
The first issue of The Hunt wasn't bad. It was kind of cool because they were talking about all these different superhero schools around the world.
I'm so weary of all the purposes, just money grabs.
Fear itself was bad about it.
Yeah. Marvel in particular is extremely bad about it. Infinity, the 3rd and 4th. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to... You guys have to read the Thor issue. It's
It
nuts. Me and Ricky were talking about it at the gym. It's so awesome. Goodness gracious. As I said in the car, it's one of the best Thor moments of all time. Journey of the Mystery Days.
Even better than young Thor riding a space shark.
Even better. Oh, man. It's up there, I'm telling you.
I'm not gonna lie, like that's been a while since God of Thunder and that happened, so I can go ahead
It's
and say
one of the best BA Thor moments of all time. If you guys out there in podcast land are not reading Infinity, you gotta read Infinity. You also have the Black Bolt Thanos fights in number 3. And then you have the Thor moment. I think it's in number 4. If it's not in number 4, it's in one of the Avengers or the New Avengers. But I think it's in number 4. And some big developments are going down right now.
How's New Avengers been? Like I think
It's
it's like 1 issue.
It's all the same, you know.
It's more so. I feel like it's probably just Infinity.
It is
Avengers.
It's supposed to be. It's
Yeah.
And not only the thing I love that Marvel's actually doing with Avengers and New Avengers, they're not tie-ins in the sense of cash grabs.
It's literally explaining the story.
They give you lots of good info that you need for the story. I mean, those books are needed. You need to get side
like Thunderbolts,
information.
where Punisher's like,
Hey,
the Avengers aren't on the Earth anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, and it's considered a tie-in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they are needed and necessary to the story.
Yeah.
And big stuff goes down. Avengers Assemble actually has some pretty good tie-in books, too.
I have Avengers Assemble. I haven't read through it yet, but I've heard good things about
It's
it.
okay, but definitely the Infinity books give you good behind the scenes on the stuff that's going on. You guys read anything else this week?
East of West. This issue was interesting.
I liked it.
It's suffering from my typical Hickman thing that I either love or hate, where I feel like everything's just building and building and building, and I want just a little bit of like a relief of the pressure on the whole bit, or some answers.
Well, the last issue, something big went down.
Yeah, and it was a cool. I'm
The
liking,
guy of the council getting busted, basically.
I like East of West so far. I'm really enjoying it. I wish it wasn't monthly. I could read that stinking thing every week.
That's exactly my thought after I
regret
read it.
starting it.
I was like, yeah, exactly. I said that on the podcast. I was like, I wish I had not read this at all, because now I need it every week, and it's not coming.
The art's great. I mean, like, the universe is amazing. Like, I love this universe. And it's a great book. I would suggest it to anybody, but as you said, I regret starting it early.
I started a lot of new series this week. I got all the way caught up on Chew, which we talked about last week. Chew is absolutely awesome. Absolutely hilarious and very unique. Give it a try. You'll either love it or hate it, but if you love it, you'll love the crap out of it. I got caught up on that. I decided to give the Manhattan Projects a try, which is a Hickman book that I've been downloading, but I haven't had time to actually read yet. It's a very interesting concept, but I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to stick with it. Typically, when I read comics, I give them 4 issues. And if I don't love it by 4 issues, I'm not going to read it.
Give me a rundown. I want to know what that's about.
So here's kind of the premise. It's about World War II and the Manhattan Project, of course, developing the bomb. Albert Einstein is slightly involved, and there's this other scientist character that's slightly involved. But there's a side story that Hickman writes in about basically these twin genius scientists. One of them is evil, deranged, one of them is a genius, and blah, they're twins, and all this stuff goes down. And it takes place back in the day, right before the A-bomb is, but it's basically kind of maybe it's 25% retelling American history, and it's 75% stuff that Hickman makes up, and this weird abstract story of behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling the art. The story is okay. It's not bad. It's not a bad comic by any means. I just don't like it enough.
I usually like alternate history. That's part of why I like East to West.
Yeah.
I usually like alternate history. I want to check it out. I might download the first few issues.
It's not. Give it a try. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
It's about 15 issues in.
Because artwork's either hit or miss with me. I feel like some books' artwork impacts me really heavily, and others I can ignore it enough if I enjoy the premise.
Like I said, it's not a bad book. I just don't like it enough to stick with it and read all the other issues and then constantly read it every month.
I figured out what it was I read, by the way.
What's that?
I read through Widowmaker. I don't know if you've ever read that.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
It was a really short run. It was 4 issues, and it's a little short story segment about Black Widow, Hawkeye, Ronin, and Mockingbird. Basically, they
Ronin? Oh, Ronin, Hawkeye, Ronin.
No, Hawkeye isn't Ronin.
Or sorry, but
they
I mean,
figure out a Ronin.
not Ronin the Accuser. Ronin, Ronin.
They figure out that someone is being. This is like right after Civil War. They figure out that after Hawkeye abandoned the Ronin persona or whatever, someone else picked it up, and under that persona, they're killing all these major spies, and they have like a list they're trying to kill. And Black Widow and Mockingbird and all them are on it, and so Hawkeye's trying to help them figure out why the whole world thinks Hawkeye's the one who did it.
What's it called?
It's called Widowmaker. It's not amazing, like it's only 4 issues, but it was definitely interesting, and it had the Winter Guard, and it was why I picked it up. Was I wanted to see more about that. What did you do?
There's definitely some interesting ideas I could do with that too.
I just had a thought, but I'm gonna let it go.
No, please share with the class.
I don't want to say it.
I'm getting a little tipsy. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
I'll tell you about
the glazed look in your eye.
Anyway, you want to know what Drew read?
I've enjoyed myself. What'd you read? Absolutely nothing.
I read some Hellboy.
Yeah, you did.
That counts as swearing, and you started saying damn.
No, it doesn't count as swearing.
Hold on, I did say damn. What did Drew say? I didn't catch it.
He said Hellboy. It was a joke.
That is
it was a joke.
I'll punch him in the face. All right, I'll take one for saying damn.
Anyway, read some Hellboy. It's good. I gotta read more. I gotta finish the 3rd book. It's great.
How many traits did I give you?
3.
All right, I need them back because I'm going to reread it pretty soon.
Okay.
I don't need them back right this second. I'm just saying.
I picked up Journey into Mystery, by the way.
Yeah, you did.
Because it wrapped up recently. I think it's finally like over. Have you ever read through Journey into Mystery?
I read it before Thor: God of Thunder started. Because ever since Thor: God of Thunder started, it's the best Marvel book right now.
I have read some issues of Journey into Mystery.
You know what? I will even currently put it ahead of Ultimate Spider-Man. I like it that much now.
Thor?
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
I mean, overall, Ultimate Spider-Man is still my favorite Marvel book, but as far as right now, Thor: God of Thunder is straight legit. I'm telling you guys, I'm podcast land. Read Thor: God of Thunder.
Okay, pause Thor: God of Thunder. I think Drew was still talking about.
Sorry, we got ahead. I know.
You'll like this. I started reading the Marvel Now run of Deadpool.
Yeah, buddy.
It's pretty
How
funny.
you liking them dead presidents?
They're pretty hilarious.
How far are you into the dead presidents?
I think I'm in the 3rd issue or 4th issue.
Oh, you're just getting started. It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they put a new creative team on Deadpool and restarted that.
I just like how the opening is with Thor and them. Just you'll see Austin.
The guy, the Shield agent who started the whole thing, he's hilarious and he's in it more. Have you met Ben Franklin yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
Ben Franklin's hilarious.
Austin, you gotta read it. I'm telling you too.
Is it like the Ben Franklin from the Assassin's Creed games?
It's good Deadpool, I'm telling you. It's very good Deadpool.
You remember how bad we were laughing listening to Ben Franklin's speech in Assassin's Creed 4?
Yeah, Deadpool's good.
Here's a weird one. Have you guys read Mighty Avengers yet? The new one?
No.
Yes. Who do you think is
Ronan?
He's Ronan.
I don't know.
Me and Ricky were talking about it. We couldn't figure it out.
I'm not sure. I've read 2. It's 2 issues in, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not very far.
I'm not sure yet.
I don't either. I have no earthly clue whatsoever who it is.
What if it's a Peter Parker?
Well, right now he's wearing Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider suit, but
what if it's Peter
pink.
Parker?
It's not pink. What? It could be.
I just blew Hunter's drunk mind.
I'm tipsy right now. Anything's possible.
What if it's Thanos?
Thanos is fatter than that.
I mean, like...
It could be Peter.
I mean, like, it's plausible, but, I mean, like, it would have to be a...
Not logically, but Marvel logically, it could be
Yeah,
Peter.
it's Marvel logic.
Yeah, so I gave I gave Manhattan Projects a try. Didn't like it that much. So I moved on to The Unwritten. Have you guys ever heard of Unwritten?
Never even heard of it.
It's a Vertigo book that got a lot of awards back when it first came out a couple years ago.
I feel like you can just say it's a Vertigo book, and it can be assumed it got a lot of
I
awards.
love a lot of Vertigo
Yeah,
books.
Vertigo does
They have
have
a
some
lot of
really
good
good
books.
stuff.
I gave it a try. I read the first 4 issues. I will say this. I can see a lot of people really enjoying this book. It's just not my cup of tea. It's an extremely well-written book, and the art was excellent, too. The kind of 411 on it is there's this character, and his dad was a literary writer, and his books were popular even more than like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Like in that realm. And the main character in his fairy tale storybooks was based around his son. Okay? And the Unwritten comic series is about his son, who's now grown up. And basically, he is kind of like this celebrity, basically, just because the books are so popular and everybody knows. It's obvious that he has the same name as the characters, like Ben or something, whatever. Everything's based around him. So when he goes out everywhere, like, he's popular, celebrity and everything. But all this crazy magic stuff starts happening to him in the real world that's kind of based around what happens in the books, and he's stuck. And you know what I mean?
You think the books might just be a
Well,
fairy tale?
the main bad guy in the books like actually shows up in real life and like literally tries to kill him. But the comic makes it kind of like, is this guy just really crazy or is this really mad?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really cool. It's just not quite my cup of tea. It gives me the Fables vibe. I don't know if you guys read Fables, but Fables is like that. I feel like this would be a good book for chicks to get into comics.
Is it?
How's
the art?
The art's good. It's kind of old-fashioned-y looking, like it's not super crazy, over-the-top, colorful, or anything, but it's just well done, classically looking art.
Is it kind of a slower book, or is it a faster book? Like, do you feel like by the end of an issue, like, everything in the world's gone wrong?
No.
Okay.
It's a good book. It's just, like I said, like Manhattan Projects. It's a good book. It's just, I don't know that I like it enough to stick with it, so I ended up dropping it after 4 issues.
I was going to say, did you see they started a new Punisher series this week? Little
Which one?
Trial of the Punisher. Little 4-issue arc.
Hold on, I got choked up on my shot.
Trial of the Punisher.
I read it. I love Punisher. You know, I read everything Punisher. Good or bad. Usually bad. It's pretty good.
Okay, that makes me happy because I grabbed it and I was wanting to look into it and I was wanting to know if you had checked it out.
One more that I read, because I know I read a lot this week. So I gave up on Manhattan Projects, gave up on Unwritten, picked up Scalped. Don't know if everybody knows what Scalped is, because it was a Vertigo book as well. But it's written by one Jason Aaron, who is killing it on everything Marvel right now. This was back...
What's he writing on?
One of his first books. He's writing... First of all, he wrote Wolverine Weapon X, one of the best Wolverine books of all time, in my opinion.
Hunter, you've got alcohol in your beard.
Real...
I think that's drool, actually.
Hold on, I can't spell. I tried to spell my comic shop, and I spelled it pretty bad.
My Comus.
My comics...
He's drunk.
Jason Aaron. First of all, he's on Wolverine the X-Men, which we've been enjoying a lot. He's on way more books than what it's pulling up right here, but this story is kind of real-world gritty. It takes place on an Indian reservation, and it's about this undercover FBI agent who's originally from the Indian reservation. And the book is very based around the Native Americans' plight of how all their stuff's taken away from them. They're given these reservations to live on, and
What year does it take place in?
Modern day. And the drug, meth, and everything is so bad at the moment. Like, it's all about how Indians have fallen so far. But all of this is all behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. The main story, really, the main storyline, is about an undercover FBI agent who's going in to try to bust this chief guy who's kind of like the head of... He's building a casino. He's the sheriff of the town.
Yeah.
He's kind of the head of all the drug traffic. But you're trying to bust him. And there's a whole lot of storylines, and it gets it extremely good. It's very well written.
And see, like, I
love it. I
love that kind of theme because, like, Batman Inc. had it with, what's his name? The Indian Batman for a little bit.
What was his name? Dang it, I can't think of it.
And then Aquaman picked that up when they were doing the stuff about Aquaman's old team. That one little girl from the Indian reservation, they had a little bit of that.
No, this is that times a million. I mean, this is all
that
about...
That makes me happy. Well, that's what I'm saying. I like that kind of...
It all takes place on the Indian reservation.
That makes me... I really want to check that out now.
Punisher Max. That's when I first read Jason Aaron. He... Like I said, wrote Wolverine, Weapon X, writes Wolverine and the X... Man, excuse me. Wolverine and the X-Men. Avengers versus X-Men.
Which ones? That's what matters.
0 and 2, and number 9, so a mix of them. But Punisher Max is some of his best stuff, the recent Punisher Max. Let's see. Incredible Hulk. The good Incredible Hulk, right before Marvel Now, which I was enjoying it a lot. Wrote Olive Scout.
Oh, is that the run with...
Hellblazer.
Is that the run of Incredible Hulk where he splits?
Yeah, that was the good...
The 2012 run.
That's what I'm saying. That's the one
we
liked.
That's where I know his name from. Then.
That's when we liked him the best.
Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite comics for a while there.
Yeah, Jason Aaron's a good writer, man. I suggest this book highly to people. Give it a try. It kind of has a little bit of a 100 Bullets vibe. It's a gritty, down-to-earth, modern-day storyline that kind of has that same vibe to it. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's a dirty... I mean, there's sex in it all the time, and there's cussing.
Oh, you sold me.
Violence and all this stuff, but it takes place in modern day, and it's really... It's very different than the average superhero comic.
When you sober up and get over your hangover in the morning, I want you to email me a list of these Vertigo titles that you want me to read.
There are so many.
I'll forget them by tomorrow.
There are so many.
100 Bullets and Scalped.
Those are the two big ones.
Unwritten and what was the other one I tried? Manhattan Projects. Give them a shot, but I liked them, like I said, but they weren't my cup of tea. They were good books.
Should we tell them the names of the ones that have been that are the core Vertigo book titles?
Well, first of all, Sweet Tooth.
Yeah,
I already read. I loved Sweet Tooth.
Trillium is good.
Trillium was the one. I'm waiting till Trillium. I think I'm going to wait till Trillium finishes.
Go read Why the Last Man.
Well, duh. Dude. Oh, Sandman. Hellblazer. I still need to pick up the rest of the Sandman.
Hellblazer's like 700 issues.
300, but yeah.
It's a lot.
That's a little bit,
This is a lot.
I sat there and spent literally 24 hours straight, no sleep, reading Invincible to get caught up on it at 100 issues.
Did you enjoy it?
I love Invincible.
Damn right you did.
It's a good thing you're not my ride home, Hunter.
I'm not driving right now.
Until you decide Taco Bell sounds really good.
How many shots is that? 20?
Not damn well enough.
I
know, I did that on purpose.
I'm not giving him that one.
That's purpose.
I'm not giving him that
It's
one.
more fun when it's you swearing, actually.
It's at least been, 15?
Yeah, it's been... Someone's going to count, they are.
Alright, that's enough comics. Let's move into video games. And I played a comic-related video game this week. I played Deadpool. And by God, is it not hilarious.
I watched some fun streams of that one.
I wasn't very optimistic about it. Because reviews-wise, it got, 7.5s mostly?
I heard the gameplay's pretty meh, but it's the humor that's done well.
Absolutely. Now, the gameplay is actually not shabby as far as the gameplay is cool combos. The actual gameplay as far as how the system is set up is okay. The problem is its repetitiveness.
Yeah.
And it's constantly setting you up. You're constantly going through waves of bad guys as you move through the story.
I think I watched, the big part I watched was the part where he teams up with Rogue, I think.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now, actually. Matter of fact, it's a little over halfway through. Yeah. And there's tons of good comic cameos. First of all, it's
the back and forth's hilarious from what I've seen. It's
hilarious from the very beginning. You're cracking up. I mean, they do an extremely good job with it. He breaks the fourth wall all the time. He talks about High Moon, which is the studios that makes it, which also made the last two Transformer games, which were champagne showers. War of Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, both
Best two
excellent.
Transformers games ever. I don't even.
By far, they're two of the best games.
I enjoyed
that's been put
them
out.
more than I enjoyed probably like freaking the movies and the TV shows.
But they're a good quality video game studio that's really up and coming, and they do an excellent job with this game capturing Deadpool's persona very well. I'm surprised I was able to get the persona word out as tipsy as I am right now. There's so many hilarious moments in these games. The pacing is not bad. It's just every now and then it throws in repetitive moments of just running into enemies for no reason when they really didn't need to be there. But it has cool. I don't know if you guys played the Wolverine game. That was very good. The X-Men Origins. That was a great game.
It was pretty
For
good.
being such a terrible movie.
I liked that movie. I was arguing with somebody.
The first part of it.
I was arguing with somebody about this the
probably
other day.
me.
No, it wasn't you. It was somebody at Game Preserve. I loved that movie, and I know everybody hates it, but I loved it.
I liked the first half.
But the Deadpool game, it's such the lows of going through waves of enemies repetitively is well outweighed by the hilarious moments that happen every now and then. I mean, there's some. The part where you drive the Blackbird and you crash it and you slap Wolverine for 5 minutes. Their eyes was in tears, busting out laughing at a couple points in that.
I definitely gotta check it out now.
There's cameos by Wolverine, Rogue, Domino, Psylocke. Mr. Sinister is the main bad guy in it. Blockbuster and all the other Marauders that go along with Mr.
Tombstone.
Sinister.
I saw some stuff with Tombstone.
So it is cracking me up, and I would say I'm probably about halfway through, and I'm enjoying it a lot. So you guys give it a try if you're Deadpool. If you're a Deadpool fan, there's no way you won't enjoy it. It's not a horrible game, but it's not an exceptionally good game. But if you are a fan at all of Deadpool, you will definitely like it. The good, like I said, the good will outweigh the bad by far. Other than that, we've been playing. Excuse me. Other than that, we've been playing a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh man! If my DS wasn't in there charging right now, I'd be sitting here playing this whole freaking podcast.
We have a little not competitive, but like a little thing set up for a couple months or a couple weeks from now. I'm gonna try to do every couple weeks. We'll do like a little Pokemon tournament. Just kind of friendly games of friends and friends of friends competing against each other, but it's such a great game.
Yeah,
I honestly feel like this is my favorite out of all the generations by far.
It's definitely up there for me. I'm not quite finished with it. I'm about to fight
My
the
only
Elite Four.
problem, and you're gonna feel the same way. The post game is missing a lot of content, and Heart Gold and Soul Silver had a lot of it. And I know you put Heart Gold and Soul Silver up there.
You just took the words right out of my mouth because I was about to say I'm at the Elite Four right now. And if the Elite Four are really good and there's a decent amount of in-game content, it'll be the best for me. But if not, I'm still going to stick with Heart Gold and Soul Silver as the best Pokemon games.
The good thing, I don't want to say good necessarily. Well, I guess it is good. They heavily, I don't even want to say hint. They blatantly smack you in the face the whole freaking game about there being a Sapphire and Ruby remake in the works. Like, they do nothing but talk about those regions, like, all the time. If you talk to people on the side, they're like, hey, I have a friend from a region nearby called Ho, and it's a pretty cool place, but I guess you'll see it here soon. Or something like that, and just crap like that through the whole game, like, little hints dropped. So, I mean, like, I'm really looking forward to it. I think, honestly, I might be looking forward to the third iteration, Z or whatever they do here in 6 months. I'm definitely like psyched for that because usually the third copy is more post game, a lot of post game content.
Yeah, and that's what I like.
And it's
best.
a competitive version.
I like post game stuff a lot better.
Yeah.
I will say though, it is pretty cool with the variety of crap in the game is just crazy. Like you go into a zone like a route, and there's like 12 to 15 different types to catch.
There's lots of different things that are introduced in the games that weren't previously in. Swarms.
Oh man,
really
hordes
cool.
are my favorite feature.
The new experience share is very good, but the thing is, it's too good. Okay, think about this. If you take that experience share
And put it in any of the other games.
put it in past games, it's beyond broken. But
this
in
game
this one,
balanced
the
with it.
pacing is very balanced with it, and you can go through and take a whole team of Pokemon, raise them to the high enough level, and it's somehow they have literally mastered the balance of the pacing of leveling up to where that experience share doesn't break the game.
And see, it's funny because like with Black and White, I hated the pacing. That was one of the most worthless. Like it was so poorly paced. It was either the game was too hard, or it was way too easy, or it was way too hard. It was back and forth. They didn't tell you where to go next or what to do next. And through X and Y, I can honestly say I've only hit one case where that's actually happened to me, where I didn't know where to go next.
Yeah.
Black and White 2, that's why I quit playing it.
White 2's too. Honestly, I've run into too many difficulties like trying to get through it.
I literally quit playing White 2.
My only complaint about X and Y really was the 3D city, and the more I've been there, the less I care about it. Like, it's not as big of a deal as I made it out to be original.
But it still is neat.
Yeah. And not to mention it's broken for hatching eggs, because you literally just hold left and you drive around in a circle.
The riding the Rhyhorns and the
Yeah.
I wish that was a little faster.
When they
but I do
mentioned-
It's still fun.
When they mentioned your mom's a Rhyhorn racer, I was like, oh my god!
There's so many cool moments in this Pokemon, and they add so many new. I mean,
competitive wise, they did a lot of outside of Megas. Like they changed.
They completely overhauled the EV system for one,
Which is really good.
very welcomed in my opinion.
IV's now passed down a lot better with certain items and stuff, which is cool.
So yeah, definitely enjoying that. Anybody else playing any new video games this week?
I was gonna say Kerbal Space Program got its next patch, which Kerbal's a blast. Have you played it yet, Drew?
Yeah, I played it.
I've never played it, but I know a lot of people like it.
It's like one of those games like you'd expect to be in a classroom, kind of like you build a spaceship and you go up into space and do
it's
crap.
fun.
But it got an actual science system now, so like you gather points by doing certain things, and then you spend them to unlock new stuff, and it's a blast.
I know you guys haven't been playing it, or you haven't played it yet, but Grand Theft Auto 5 is legit.
I'm waiting until I'm like dizzy right now. I'm waiting until they put out a version that has like all the deal.
I'm waiting for a PC version because there will be a Game of the Year for PC.
I'm waiting for a Game of the Year, get it, and all the DLC for $40. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm waiting for. Now I only am waiting for that because I have GameFly, and I know that eventually I'll get it on GameFly and be able to play through it, and then I'll buy it with all the DLC and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's a game that I know I'm gonna want to play through it all, and I'm gonna want all the DLC too. So I wish I had done that with GTA 4 and all those.
Because it's hard. Honestly, sometimes it's hard to go back and play those games once the DLC comes out if you finish them too fast.
Well, the cool thing about the DLC on GTA 4 is that it was separate from the main story.
Yeah.
The Lost and the Damned was its own thing. You didn't even have to. You could have played Lost and Damned by itself. I mean, it was a standalone game.
Yeah.
Now, Ballad of Gay Tony was a little different because it kind of went along more with the game than Lost to the Damned
Because
was.
like I run into that problem a lot with games. I'll complete a game and then like a month or two later, maybe DLC will come out. Like Borderlands, I'm suffering from that right now. I don't want to go back and play Borderlands 2 all over again.
I wish you would, so we can play through the DLC together.
But I really need to do the DLC, yeah. Because I had the season pass, I have all the DLC and everything.
Tell me when you're ready to do that, because I'm down.
I'll let you know. It's probably going to be after like I die of Pokemon exhaustion.
I'm cool like a fool in a swimming pool.
Honor's drunk.
I'm not drunk. Alright.
I'm just tipsy.
Thank you guys for joining us this week on Dial H For Heroclix.
For this party podcast.
Party bad guys.
We talked about best build. It is over for this week. But dial design, don't forget, submit your dials for the last week. Submit your team bases.
Yeah.
And we will get those graded, and next week we will announce our winner for dial design. It's a pretty close race. I haven't added all the scores up yet, but it's pretty close. With 22 entrants, it's got to be close.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of you guys participating, and it's been very fun. We have had a blast looking at some of these pieces. I'd love to make some of them custom create some of these pieces. God dang it, I'm slurring my speech at the moment. My brain. The boys almost got me drunk today. They did a good job trying. but they did quite
I'm going to
succeed.
call you at 8 in the morning.
I've only been
if you're
drunk.
hungover.
I've only been drunk twice in my life, and this is not going to go down as the third. But maybe next time we try this, you guys can get me to number 3.
Especially if we have Ricky on, too.
If you guys would like to email us, we are Dial H For Heroclix at gmail.com.
And if you've enjoyed the Drunken podcast particularly...
If you guys have any ideas for main topics you want to hear us talk about, just the tip ideas that you want to share with the Clicks community, we're always looking for those. If you would just like to shoot the crap and just say,
hey, that Drew guy's pretty cute.
even if you just want to ask a question like, what's our opinion on X piece and how does it run in this format? Send us.
I'll tell you it's bad.
Drew will shit talking and I. Well,
One more.
one last shot for the road.
I thought you weren't driving.
By the way, Hunter's not driving. We're at his house.
I'm totally driving.
I'm a better driver when I'm driving, bro.
No, I'm just kidding. We do not condone drunk driving at all.
No, we do not.
Unless it's a bicycle, then it's hilarious.
Unless it's a unicycle, then it's absolutely hilarious.
The moped is where we draw the line.
I get so tired of getting stuck behind guys on mopeds.
But anyways, we also follow us on Twitter. We gained a lot of Twitter followers this week. Let's get the Twitter going, guys.
We had how many?
I did a lot of Twitter work this week.
We had so many listens on our.
I did a lot of twerking week of this work.
Well, no wonder we have so many listeners.
I put up gifs of me in a thong, doing a little twerking.
I could do without all these images.
No, we guys suggest us on Twitter to we like to get some more followers. We're trying to become a more popular podcast. We have been growing at an absolutely an exponential rate. At this point, we're going to surpass all goals and
At
expectations.
this point, we're going to give up the contest if we keep getting this many entries.
I know. I can't. My poor hands are crippled from making so many custom poker chips by this point.
We're going to have to hire more people to play teams from the best people.
We really, really appreciate all our listeners and putting up with us for 2.5 hours every week. And for some reason, you enjoy it. God knows why.
We're terrible.
But you tune in every week, and we really do appreciate you guys. We love talking to you guys on Dial Designs and Best Builds and through emails, and even just appreciate you guys listening and joining the Heroclix community. More like a family.
Yeah, we're more
It
like
really is like a family. I just want to take a moment to say we appreciate you guys.
Uncle that slurs
The
his
drunken
words.
uncle.
But basically, I'm just saying, spread the word. Tell your friends at your local venues about the podcast, and to check us out on Facebook or Twitter and check out our episodes. I appreciate you guys each and every week for tuning in, and we will see you next week with another exciting episode.
No, seriously, I love you guys.